3:30.
How did I get bumped already?
Jack Carlson.
Because we got to keep the viewers here. We want to make sure that they stay for the whole part of it. Oh, is this for me?
I know you like the right side, so. Are we live yet? Are we? Fred, what do we got going with the feedback? Are we okay? It's kind of rough over here. So we're going to be starting the show here in a second, but obviously we've got some sound issues that we got to work with as far as feedback from our camera.
I thought it was just me.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Is that me? No.
No, it's.
I'm looking for Roger Daltrey right now.
This was allegedly done already, and you can't even hear us now. I'm going to come over here. Oh, this is great.
Never close your. Just for your pleasure.
Oh my God. All the gains are down. You good? Check, test. Bart Archer talk.
Check test, check 1, check 2, check 3. Oh, he finally turned me up.
It's
after
Bart's
the whole
mic.
weekend.
Go ahead, Bart.
Test 1, test 2, test 3.
You go over to that chair.
How about if I go over to this chair?
Okay.
Anything to help the production.
All right. Now is that me? Oh, Amy. How are you? We've just started. Come on in. Amy Sensor's in the house. So the Overtime Hockey Podcast begins here. We've got Amy Sensor and Lee Smith in the house. And we've got a very special day planned with some feedback coming through. Tanner, I hope it's not coming through too hard in the broadcast. Okay. So this is just an in-room issue for everybody. So we've got great guests. Lee Smith's here. He's going to be. Are we going to get John and Casey Middlestat in the house? Oh, John and Luke. Yeah, it'd be tough to get from Buffalo. So John and Luke Middlestat are going to be in the house. We're going to have the Hopkins Royals will be here with Zach Hayes. Gino Parrish, I believe one of their assistant coaches, will be joining us. We'll also be joined by Jack Carlson coming up at 10:15 or so. Tom Reid will join us at the top of the hour. Hopefully we can get these audio things. You know what? I think we should maybe just not use that thing. Can you go turn it down? We don't need it for now. We'll figure it out. Jack Carlson will join us. We'll have the Minnetonka Skippers. Sean Goldsworthy will be here. The Benilde-St. Margaret's Red Knights will be here. Basically, we have our original six. And what we're really excited to do with our original six is, other way, please, other way, thank you. Wow. Okay, that's fine. That sounds better. Right. So what we have with our original six is we're going to end up creating a T-shirt that we're going to sell. We're going to hopefully start selling it at the Edina Holiday Classic. The proceeds from that are going to go to Wishes and More, which is a charity which is very important to Joe Sensor, along with Tom Reid, who's going to be joining us at the 11 o'clock hour. And Joe Sensor, of course, how many sports bars have been around from pillar to post for 35 years?
I've been coming here ever since it opened.
It's next to impossible. Exactly. Right at the corner of the bar with Adam Oates and Brett Hall, remember?
Yeah. And
Adam Oates blew everybody off too,
indeed,
including you.
Noted.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, nice. He's one of us. So, but Joe has been a great member of the community. Obviously, he's suffered a couple of strokes, and for him, he's a giving person. He's one of the best, and I love this place and his family. And Amy is here right now, and Joe hopefully will be here a little bit later, so we'll bring him on in too as well. And some of Joe's kids will be here as well, and it's just going to be a great day. Wishes and More. We've got Craig Goodrich. Come on in, Craig. Go over to Bart's left. Floor director.
All right.
Craig is with Total Sports, and Bart, go ahead and hand him your mic. Craig, you guys have got a terrific thing here. We've got, incredible sports memorabilia spread throughout this room, and you've got some incredible things from the Purple People Eaters. You got Cicerelli. We're giving away a Ryan Suter signed jersey as well. To what? We're going to do it with anybody who registers?
Anybody that comes in and registers, stops in, has a drink, has lunch. Steve's going to throw your name in a hat. You'll get a coupon, and at the end of the game, he'll draw that and then give it away. Suter was just in our office a couple weeks ago and always likes to get involved with giving back to the community. So that's the one we're going to give away today.
Well, and Steve, of course, is your manager of Sensors. So they're open with shuttle buses to the Vikings game. We're going to run this whole auction for the next few hours until the final kickoff for the final buzzer of the Vikings game. We're going to run it till 3:30. Come on in. There's no better place to watch a football game, especially a Vikings game. There will be room camera that there may be a Packers screen or two rocking, which I don't know, man. We'll make it work if it brings more people in to take care of a good cause. And then for Bart and I, we used to do the overtime show with Jeff Bangs back in the day. So you got 2/3 of Rush, I guess, the trio here, and we started that back in about 1991. And I mean, I don't know about you, Bart, but to this day,
It was earlier than that.
okay, Craig, you're good. We'll check back in with you. Bart, to this day, we still have people that come up to us and say what a great show and how much fun that was. And it was brought to our attention. John Conley actually said, great show. You guys should do it again. And I said, you know what? We talked about this is cable access. This is Wayne's World at its finest. And we took it live to the Scoreboard Bar and Grill out in Eden Prairie, or Minnetonka, right on the edge there. And it was awesome to do. And so we thought, let's try this. Let's do this. And let's bring some attention to these great causes and make it happen. So the original 6 T-shirt basically are the 6 teams from Lee Smith's Eden Prairie Eagles all the way to Ken Pauley's Benilde-St. Margaret's Red Knights that we've covered for years, that we love. We're Southwest Metro guys, sorry, but we are. And we stay within driving distance because we're old men, and that's how it works. A lot of the clubs over here are kind of struggling, right? Except for Lee's Eagles.
They're finding their way.
Oh, gaining their identities.
Right.
And so truth be told, it's been awesome. So we're calling them our Original 6 to play off the NHL's Original 6. We've got all their logos. Really cool shirt that Tom Holtzman at Beauty Status Hockey has created for us. And hopefully we'll have them all at the Holiday Classic at Edina, which will feature a really good Grand Rapids team, Elk River, Edina, and Eden Prairie. So plenty to talk about today. Natalie, what do I got for time? Oh, we got plenty of time to talk. Jack Carlson will be joining us at 10:15. Between then and now, Bart Archer will get you set here. First of all, we had the pleasure to call some great games yesterday and Friday at the North-South Classic on the mnhockey.tv, and the one that closed it out was terrific between Hermantown and Benilde-St. Margaret's.
Yeah, indeed it was. And Hermantown came down. I didn't know much about him on first blush, but watching him play Eden Prairie that first game, great contest. As it stands, Eden Prairie bested him 4-2. So I was curious to see how Hermantown would respond against Benilde-St. Margaret's. Also, kind of curious as far as how Benilde-St. Margaret's would respond after their Friday night game. But it was a great weekend of hockey. And don't forget the Thursday night game between Prior Lake and Minnetonka. That was a pretty good affair.
I was very impressed with the Prior Lake Lakers. They've been very solid this year. They've got that sophomore line. That's very good. Of course, we love Bump, who could really get it done on the wing. He can score. He can set things up. He's got a big frame. We liked him a lot. The thing I was impressed with the Brainerd Warriors open up against the Red Knights, kind of stayed back, weren't really interested in getting into a running match with them, then realized they could, and then it was a 2-0 win for the Red Knights, had to work hard to get it. Then they took on the Eden Prairie Eagles, 0-0 after one. No panic in Lee Smith's body there as his team just uncorks for 7 goals in the second period and go on to win 8-0. A really good win there. Tons of talent up and down that roster, and they're looking like the most offensively scary team to me right now that I've seen.
Well, and don't undersell the defense as well. The defense for Eden Prairie, for me, our offense seems to come from their defense. They're very structured defensively. They're very effective defensively. They get out of their zone with efficiency. They come through the neutral, and that's where the problems become for the other teams. But it's a complete team. It's not just an offensive team with talent. They check a lot of boxes, and it's obviously a front-running team for a reason, but they're comfortable there. They've been there before. Nothing really surprises this coaching staff or this team, but they're poised to make a serious run, but they have all the checks in the right boxes.
Well, they do, and you think about guys like Cam Langfelds, who maybe was a 5-6 type D off of last year's team, has stepped up and played a larger role. And you know what? He's gotten a little bit bigger, and Mason Langenbrunner has been an absolute total addition to this team. I thought he was very engaged and involved in the 2 games that I saw, made the forwards better. But then look at Ben Steeves. I mean, who is this guy? Was he about 5'4"?
It's hard not to look at him.
I'm kidding. He's not huge, right?
He draws a lot of attention.
But how good of a skater is he? How good is he on the puck? He's strong. He can shoot it. He can do all kinds of things. And you got to be ready because he's going to shoot from this wing, from the middle. He catches passes. Most guys at the high school level can catch him in stride in the backhand, but he's a little more special. He's next level in that, and that's really important. To be able to play the off wing the way he does, to be able to open up and shoot is going to be nothing but helpful for his game and for the Eagles.
Well, there's a couple things that I like about his game. First of all, he's patient. And a lot of kids at this level, if they see some competition coming toward them, they get nervous and dump the puck deep and then get after it. He he doesn't mind traffic.
They go Bambi.
He has the skills to negotiate his way through, but the puck seems to like him. It follows him, but obviously he has the attention whenever he's on the ice of the opposing team. They have to be cognizant of him, but if they focus too much on him, there are other factors as well that will come into play as well. So it's a very difficult team to defend against because there's really good balance on this team.
At what point do we pay full attention to Bill Lechner's Hill Murray Pioneers crush the darlings of high school hockey in Blake? I mean, good night. 7-1. I mean, that's not just a mistake there. That's not just a bad game. That's a pretty convincing victory.
Well, and how do you not pay attention to a Bill Lechner coach team? It just seems
Very
like
fair.
every year we always kind of undersell them because they graduated this guy or they lost this guy, but they always come in with an addition that plays the right way. They're very gritty in the corner. They play a very complete game, but anytime Coach Lechner coaches a team, they're always going to be in the mix.
They're absolutely always going to be in the mix. So that's a team that's been very interesting to me. Edina, White Bear Lake played to a 2-2 tie. A lot of high regard for the White Bear Lake Bears this year. Edina still finding their identity now, 2-3-1 on the season. You can't turn your back on them because they just, Kurt Giles will have this team playing better and better and better. That was a good test for both teams, and they ended up playing the extra session and walking out with a tie.
Well, indeed. And I caught some of that game. I couldn't catch all of it, but how many players named Newhouse are on White Bear Lake? Because I heard that name all night long.
Well, I hope they're not John Newhouses because he's got them all over the
Well,
place.
he's a very impactful player, but I think White Bear Lake is obviously going to be a very good team, but Edina's kind of going through a growth process as well. They defend quite well. They have a good goaltender. I think scoring goals is going to be a little bit of an issue this year, but they can work into that. But Edina can skate. That's one constant denominator for this Edina program is they always have players that can skate. They have good speed. It's just they don't have that natural sequential flow that they had last year. So it's a little
Give
bit
them
different
time.
addition, but give them time. It's a work in progress.
And then the Hermantown Hawks, which we saw this weekend. I think Blake Biondi's as good a player as you're going to see. He's got the big frame. He just makes everybody better. He's dangerous in every zone. He can win every battle. He creates space with his feet. He's
Very
just
smooth.
super good at really well. But then it was the Backstrom, the goaltender. I loved it. He wore sweater number 32. It was really easy
He played
to
quite
call
well.
that. Jack Carlson's in the house. He'll be next, coming up. So I was very impressed with how the Hawks attacked that game. They were very good.
Well, it's a confident team too, but they have depth. The kid named Lund on the wing, I was very impressed with. They have a defenseman that plays quite well. Not just one; they have a host of a really solid backline. So obviously, Hermantown's a very successful program, and that's going to continue.
Well, you had a man crush on Lund, no question. I mean, it was unbelievable.
It has residual value too.
We're going to bring on Jack
Love the way he
Carlson.
plays.
Let's hear a word now while we bring on Jack from Wishes and More. It's a great outfit. Come on down, bid here. Don't forget we're going to have our original 6 T-shirts, hats after the first of the year as well, all to benefit Wishes and More. The Overtime Hockey Podcast continues from Joe Sensor's Kitchen and Bar right after this.
Wishes and More send me to Disney World.
Hi, my name is Giovanni Lopez, and I was 17 years old when I got diagnosed with the stage 2 testicular cancer.
Hi, my name is Josh, and my wish was for a game room.
My friend got a wish from Wishes and More, and I think Wishes and More is really cool.
We wanted to make the time Emily had as full and as much of a celebration of her life as we could, and Wishes and More helped with that.
Wishes and More isn't a what, it's a who. We are comprised of volunteers and a small staff and supporters who care about the kids in our community and want to do something to make it very special for those kids or to support the families who lose their child. We actually have 3 programs.
Hi, I'm Christy, and my daughters were Abby, Rose, and Sarah Ann. We were introduced to Wishes and More when we were inpatient with Abby at University of Minnesota Children's Hospital. We made the change to have a play set installed in our backyard and have a special reclining swing for Abby that all of her medical equipment could be attached to. And within 10 days it was installed and we were playing on it in our backyard. We were able to use it every day for a full 11 days before Abby passed away.
Josh's wish still continues today because there are so many times where Josh just can't do what everyone else gets to do. And as normal as we try to make his life, it just isn't a normal life. And so when there's birthday parties he can't go to, or when there's been treatment days and he has to miss out on hockey or hockey practice, he goes down into his game room and he turns on that bubble hockey machine and it plays the Star Spangled Banner, and I know that he's in his good place and he's happy down there.
Our memorial program was developed for those very, very sad situations when a child did not survive to experience their wish. We didn't want to just say goodbye. We wanted to show them that we did care. There's no other organization that does that for any families in Minnesota, but we do.
In the fall after Abby had passed away, Sarah started showing some of the same signs that Abby had. And it was very scary. We weren't sure what was going on, and we called our doctors and they examined her right away. They were able to confirm it was the same thing happening to Sarah. We had kind of forgot about our wish application. Things went downhill very quickly. Sarah had passed away, and it was a couple days later and got a call, and Wishes and More was calling to tell us that they were at a memorial for us. Sarah was our little butterfly. She bounced around and never sat still and was always in motion. So Sarah was our little butterfly, and we wanted to build that garden in her memory. Our bench says, "Those we have held in our arms for a little while, we hold in our hearts forever."
You know, that saying almost can be our saying for Wishes and More, because it's the same thing. When we hold these families in our arms for a little while, we actually do hold them forever, Christy. I mean, you know that. We do. We hold them forever and hope that they feel that. And we're so grateful for what you've done in talking about Wishes and More and how brave you are to talk about your girls. Our Scholarship of Hope.
And we're back once again at Joe Sensor's Kitchen and Bar, and Jack Carlson, the former North Star, joins us. Of course, Slapshot fame. Right over Bart's shoulder, you're the one on the right, correct?
I'm supposed to be the one on the right, but that's not me.
Oh, which one's you?
I'm not. I wasn't in the movie.
Why did I think you were in the movie?
No. So that's Dave Hansen from St. Paul. Yep. He took my spot.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. Well, your brother Steve is in there.
My brother Steve's in there, and my brother Jeff's in there.
And Jeff's in there.
1 year younger.
Tom Streeter, ladies and gentlemen.
And so then you and Dave Hansen, were you both on the same North Stars team at one point? Or did he come in before you?
He came in, I think, yeah, he came in before me.
Yeah, number 8, if I remember correctly. Yeah, unbelievable. So, of course, you played with the North Stars, you grew up in Virginia. You've had a long, illustrious hockey career. It continues as you referee. You had a little hip action done. And, I did. And you feeling okay?
I am. I had my hip replaced 5 years ago, and then I was refereeing in early October. And got taken down by, puck got into my feet, and got taken down and I dislocated it. So the surgically repaired one. So,
did that take you out for the game?
Well, yeah.
Well, the question is, how did you get off the ice?
I've had many surgeries, and I've had many injuries. Dislocate your hip was one of the most painful ones I've ever felt.
I can only imagine.
So you're feeling good.
So I'm on Bloomington Ice Gardens. I'm on the ice. EMTs come in. They put the IV in so they can give me take me to the hospital. Next week it dislocates up in my home. Got to go to the emergency ride again. Have it put back in. A week later I'm in Shakopee. I'm going to referee a couple games in Shakopee. Went to tie my skate. It pops out again. And then the week after that, I was upstairs putting socks on, and it dislocated again. I said to my doctor, I said, "We got to get this fixed." I said, "I'm walking on eggshells now."
Enough's enough.
Enough's
right?
enough. So I had it repaired again.
So your career has gone from player to official to referee, and I mean, thousands of games you've officiated now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's probably 1,500, 2,000.
Yeah.
I've been a USA hockey referee now for this is my 13th year.
What's been the most rewarding part of that? I mean, you have kids of all ages, boys and girls.
We do. Most rewarding is to see how the game's changed for the younger kids. I mean, you look at the girls, the peewees, the Bantams, and especially the girls, how more skilled they are, and how faster the game is. And I don't get into I'm 65 years old now, so I don't get, I don't get into the upper one of the things that I've really enjoyed was, and I tell people, what's the big difference between a player and being a USA hockey referee? I says, I didn't know that damn rule book was that thick.
Did you even know there was one back in the day?
Cow. I said, if I'd have known there was that many rules in the game, I may have played differently.
I needed a tutor to get through that one.
So can I ask you about a rule, and it's an interesting one. It's the icing rule on for kids. When you're shorthanded, if you ice it, we're bringing it back down for a face-off. Idea is they don't want kids to throw it. So it sparks this thought of mine at the next level. You can't ice it when you're 5-on-5, right? So why are you kind of rewarding a team to be able to do that when you're shorthanded?
Well, see now, Pete, they've changed it now. Now you can ice it.
You can. It's back.
It's back. It's
okay.
For squirts, peewees, and bantams. You cannot ice the puck.
Correct.
You have to control it now. You just can't dump it down. For the high school, the older kids, the high schools and the junior gold A-Bs, you can ice the puck down.
But do you think that should go to the higher levels? What do you think of that?
I do. I mean, I think that, but the sad thing for me is you have USA hockey, you have Minnesota hockey, there's so many rules, and in fact,
National Federation of High Schools.
You've got, I was watching college football yesterday, and there's different rules for college, there's different school rules for high school, there's different rules for the pro. Why don't you just make it all universal? Make it one rule, this is the way things should be.
So that's what I was getting to.
Yes.
So and conceptually, you have the tag up icing at this level, you don't at that level, and then you come in, and when you're a ref, and you take a look at a rule book, and you go, now, what are we doing here?
Well, and several times I've done games where there is a tag up, and you do that game, and then the next game you're doing a pee-wee level where it's automatic offside, and I'm blowing the whistle, and the coach, they're yelling at me, what'd you blow the whistle for? I says, oh yeah, we're doing a different game here. So, I mean, you got to be on your toes a little bit.
And then you say, oh well, oops.
Yeah,
right?
whoops, sorry.
So let's rewind back a little bit to your playing days. What was the greatest part about being from Minnesota, playing in the NHL, and playing for your home state team?
Well, I mean, one, I always thought about playing for the North Stars back in the day, and I did play for the St. Paul Saints when they were in the WHA. So that was, but I always wanted, you always wanted friends and family to watch you play. And tell you a quick story about my dad. So when I played for the North Stars for 4.5 years, they came down to watch me play in one game. I said, Dad.
You're kidding.
I said, Dad, why don't you come down? He goes, I'm going to tell you something. He goes, if I want to watch a hockey game, he says, I don't have to stand in line to get something to eat. I don't have to stand in line to go to the bathroom. And I don't have to stand up to watch the game and I get instant replay. Why would I come down and watch it? He goes,
oh, bless his heart.
Sounds like Bart Archer. Bart,
that's me personified right there.
Bart, the floor is yours.
I do get a question. Jack, when you came into the North Stars, I always thought that they were a team that had some talent, but they didn't really have a lot of grit to their team. So you came in with a particular role, but you scored 3 goals in your first blush, and your scoring percentage was almost 17%, which ranked 3rd on the team with anybody 3 or over goals. And then you missed a year, obviously, because you had some medical conditions, but then when you came back, you scored 7 goals and then 8 goals, and your scoring percentage was pretty high on the team. Why didn't you shoot more, Jack?
Well, when you're a 4th line player and you know your role, you just, you work hard as hard as you can when you were out there. Did I have talent to score? Absolutely. I was back in the minor leagues. I was MVP of the league back in the old United States Hockey League up in Marquette, Michigan, and scored 40 goals. When I was in the minor leagues with the WHA Saints, I had 27 goals in 25 games. But I did have 250 penalty minutes in 50 games, so.
A well-rounded
player. He was your era of Gerard Gallant.
Oh, that's exactly right. Machine gun.
He would marry him if he could. Machine gun, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, back in the day, you had to play.
Absolutely.
You had to be responsible on the ice, and I played with 2 good guys, also from Minnesota, Tommy Youngans and Mike Polich.
Absolutely.
Good players.
The great golfers too.
Yeah,
I saw Blasphemy, by the way, the other day.
I thought the floor was
I was at a high school game. Youngie shows up, and he's got this bucket hat on, and it's a Blackhawks hat. And I said, what the hell is that? And he goes, I'm scouting for him. I go, oh my God. I go, hell froze over. I couldn't believe it. That was like Dirk Graham getting traded to the Hawks. That still stings.
The reason why I asked the offensive question first is because I didn't want to kind of paint it into a picture, but you were a very tough player, and you were called upon to actually be kind of a Pee-wees for the team.
Yes.
What was it in your mind, and tell me what you're comfortable with, but fighting for yourself
that were, that could handle themselves.
Sure.
We had a few guys that could do that. One of the things back in the day that game has changed was the intimidation factor.
Sure.
And you're watching the Broad Street Bullies in Philly, and they're winning Stanley Cups with a certain way of playing. Schultz
the hammer,
and Kelly,
right.
In order for those teams to take a talented team like we had off their game, they were going to try to intimidate the younger guys or the skilled guys. And we had Glenn Sonmer, who was pugilistic himself.
A little emotional.
Yeah, literally emotional. Quite emotional.
I liked it, though. Everybody liked it.
Boston Garden, 1979, was it?
That
Or
was 1981.
81.
And we could go to that story, too.
That's the best
real
story
quickly.
of all time.
And, so I didn't have to, sitting on the bench, one of the reasons why they brought me in was they were in the Boston Gardens, and Glenn was coaching, and one of their players challenged the bench in Boston.
John Winston. A couple years before.
And nobody
stood there.
Nobody moved.
Roland Erickson, Pierre-Ola Prosser.
Yeah.
Those guys, the Swedes weren't jumping over.
And I've told people, I said, my gloves and sticks would have never left the bench.
So good.
So that's when they brought me in, and of course, I knew what my role was. I knew what I needed to do. I knew, and if you could give your skilled players that extra half a step or stride or room, we were going to be successful.
But if you look at it, I mean, you filling that role was great, but I think over your career, you're maybe a -5 overall, so you're playing responsible hockey.
You did your homework.
Yeah, he did. He remembered it. That's the best part.
Thank you, Mark, because I didn't know that.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I guess we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, we do. We got to wrap up this. But I do have one quick thing before we jump to the Eden Prairie Eagles. You've done some great work with the NHL alumni here in this area. There's a lot of guys that stay here, that played here. In other areas, they kind of leave. They're just sort of.
Right.
If you're in St. Louis, you bolt. But you guys have gone as far as raising funds for AED devices and gyms and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about your efforts and what's going on there?
Well, what we've done, Pete, is we've gone out and we've raised money through a golf tournament and through charity games. And what we tried to do is our NHL alumni realized that a lot of hockey rinks don't have IEDs. And I've been in situations, not myself, but I've seen it, where a referee has gone down or a player has gone down and there isn't an IED in the arenas. So we thought our fundraising, we should make sure that every arena in Minnesota has an IED. And we've heard several occasions where they've come in handy, where they've saved somebody. You're not going to do it all the time, but we've been able to put those in arenas, and now each rink has one.
Well, it's better to have one and not need it than not
exactly.
to need it and not have one.
And you have some new initiatives maybe
we
that
do.
You can't quite announce yet or that you're working on?
Yeah, we're working on right now with marrying up with the Wild right now and doing some different things. And, we're going to wait until 2020 rolls around and get that in place, and love to talk about it down the road.
We've got a great group of people that follow the stuff that we do. How do they track you and find information on that?
Well, we've got a website. It's the Minnesota NHL alumni. They can go on our website, see what's going on, see a charity game. If they want to schedule a charity game, just go to that site and put a request in.
Hope your hip's better.
Good
to see you. Jack Carlson, ladies and gentlemen, he's a legend.
Mark, thank you, sir.
When we come back, it's Lee Smith and the Mindelstadt brothers right here on the Overtime Hockey Podcast.
I think that being in a sport, it has built into it the concept that we are going to face a challenge. When we do sport the right way, we are teaching values. We're teaching kids how to be hard workers. We're teaching kids how to be courageous, to be fearless. Dynamites, because we have a focus on whole life youth development, physical, academic, social and spiritual excellence, we get that we're trying to develop people to be whole people. And I think that when you combine that mission with sport, I think you naturally get that. We have programs in each of those 4 areas. We have ice hockey for physical excellence. Academic excellence includes academic support like one-on-one tutoring. We have a summer academic camp. Social excellence includes our big community service project, Greg Carroll Learn to Skate, and also we're faith-based. So when kids are old enough, they have the choice to go to summer camp, kind of that traditional summer church camp. Every kid in the program has multiple mentors. If they're in tutoring, they have a very special mentor that's just their very own. And then of course the hockey coaches are mentors, and of course all the staff are mentors too. So we have a very high retention rate. Dynamite's high school graduation rate over 20 years is 85%. And over the last 5 years, 96% have graduated, which is really significant because right now Minneapolis Public Schools is...
And we welcome you back to the Overtime Hockey Podcast. Tanner Lalick doing a great job on the directing over there.
As always.
Bart Archer over there, your co-host. He and I have been doing this stuff for 30 years.
Yeah, ever since Moby Dick was a minnow, Pete.
Oh,
Yeah,
-5 Jack Carlson. That's so impressive. It's like, would you pull that off of Hockey DB?
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So Eden Prairie Eagles. So we've got the original 6 we talk about. We've kind of made this our own thing where there's 6 teams that we do coverage for. Eden Prairie Eagles, Academy of Holy Angels, Edina, Benilde-St, Margaret's, Minnetonka, and Hopkins. Now we've added them with their play-by-play. So all Southwest Metro. Bart and I are pretty much Southwest Metro guys, but we love the whole state. We do, right?
I think people are getting wise to that, Pete.
Well, they figured it out.
Okay.
So we have 2 terrific hockey players with us, and they happen to be brothers. If you couldn't tell, they don't look alike at all. We have John Mittelstadt here. We have Luke Mittelstadt there, and head coach Lee Smith from the Eden Prairie Eagles. Guys, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
So let's start first with Lee. Go ahead and hand him mic. You guys are going to have to
He's always handing
rotate. So you guys, great game yesterday, second period, third especially. Tough first period against Brainerd Warriors. But you guys just stayed to it and really opened up what you can do offensively. Talk about this group as a whole.
Well, I think a big part of the success that we're going to have this year is because of the guy to my left and my right. They created a great culture with the teammates. And so with that, I think the energy is really good in the locker room. These guys show up every day wanting to get better, and they're very unselfish because of the Mittelstadt boys.
You, John, I noticed yesterday especially played with really good tempo and pace. So you were there last year, but I think you found another notch. Do you feel that in your game right now?
Yeah, I definitely feel a little bit more confident. You know, my senior year, I think that, I mean, when you're a senior, you're kind of like, okay, I'm a senior now. I gotta get this going. So I feel like I started playing a lot more confident. I trusted my ability to play, and yeah, I definitely just feel better. So.
And for you, Luke, obviously your defensive pairings have changed. There's new guys there. Can you talk about, Bart and I were talking at the start of the show about how good your group is back there, but you're just such a stalwart. You're good defensively in the D zone, good in transition, good in the offensive zone. As a group, how easy is it to work with these guys, and are you guys interchangeable?
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier playing with these guys. A lot of it just goes into trusting your teammates, and I think with the skill we have, I can trust all of them. I can play offense, I can play defense, and I think the outcome will always be pretty good with our team. So.
Well, I was just going to say, and he plays a very calm game back there as well, and I think it kind of settles everybody down. I'm going to focus a little bit on John. Now, John, last year, Jack Jensen was kind of a focus for the Eden Prairie team. Now you're kind of the player of focus. Have you had to adjust your game, or you just trust your game and go out and play?
You know, I feel like I've always played the same way, for sure, but yeah, I definitely feel like there's a little bit more weight on my shoulders because I felt like it was always Jensen, which is, I mean, Jensen's a great player, so yeah, I definitely feel a lot more confident in my game. So, and yeah, I think
you can
it'll
see
go
it
well.
too. You've been very impressive so far early this year.
Thank you.
So in terms of the overall, you know, you've got new guys that come in, Lee. You've got always a different. It's high school. There's always an ever-changing complexion to what the team is. You've always consistently, every year, no matter what's coming in, been able to be competitive, whether it's getting things going. Like last year, you know, you guys were kind of a little slower start, but everybody, even, you know, Ken Pauley would say you're the best team he saw in late January, early February in high school hockey. What's been the key to you and your coaching staff of growing this and building that and, you know, not getting it all right now, but building towards St. Paul?
Well, I think through the competition that we play, we always figure out a way to continue to try to strive to get better and continually talk about moves or shifts or things that we can do to improve our team. Last year we struggled, but we just struggled scoring. We once we got good defensively, we were right there with everyone. I think there's a huge trust between the players and coaches, and we really empower our players, and I think that always helps them to really do well at the end of the year.
Say this can go out primarily to coach, but both the players can certainly jump in. Now, against Brainerd, finished the period 0-0 the first one, but the second period you scored 7 goals. Now, in a lot of cases, I see teams where their structure kind of changes once they start putting big numbers up on the scoreboard, especially in a condensed amount of time. Your team didn't seem to lose any structure. They just kept playing the same way. Is that a testament to the players, the coach, or just the program overall? Because you guys didn't waver a bit. You just played Eden Prairie Eagle hockey.
Luke, that's you.
I think that's a big testament to the coaches. I think in between periods, they weren't rattled, they weren't nervous. So I think we came out, we weren't rattled or nervous either. So I think that just goes a lot to the coaches. And once we finally started scoring, we just kept packing it on. So I think that goes a lot to the coach.
Yeah, you guys were almost overwhelming to a certain degree. You started getting low and putting shots on the goaltender. It was really quite impressive the way you guys went about your business.
Well, and I also think just the fact that our kids are willing to do the right thing, make the right play, even sacrifice maybe a goal for somebody else and things like that. That's the way we kind of work.
Makes the coaches smile a little bit, doesn't it?
These guys are really humble for how good they are.
That's very important moving forward in the method to success.
Luke, let's rewind the tape a little bit to last year, state tournament. You guys play the best game I've seen a team lose in a final. You know, that obviously is still, you can't dwell on it, right? But it has to be something that keeps you guys moving. How important it is for you guys to not get ahead of yourselves and stay within yourselves to get better? And do you talk about that as a group, saying, hey, this is day by day, shift by shift?
Yeah, I think we just have to focus on getting better each day, like Coach said. I think everyone is hungry to get better every day. Everyone's out early, shooting pucks about 5-10 minutes early. But I think last year after we lost, Coach came in and said, I mean, that was a moral victory. That was probably the worst moral victory ever, but I think it is something you have to talk about and make sure it doesn't happen again.
You can't ignore it, right?
Yeah.
It's because it happened.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we definitely shouldn't go get cocky going into this year. Expectations are so high. Obviously, last year was the most heartbreaking thing because we played so good, and obviously we weren't expected to be there, and it was just a great story. And I know I couldn't be more proud of our group last year, and yeah, I'm really excited for this year.
Now you're expected to be there.
Yeah,
and that's different because you're kind of the hunted, right?
Yeah, you can't. Every team is going to come out and play you 100% every game. So
if someone beats you, it's the cup.
Yeah, we have a target on our backs all the time, so we have to be ready every single day.
But don't you think that's going to help you down the way you're ready for each and every contest moving forward? I think that's going to be a benefit for you guys moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. It's just we have to be ready every game.
Absolutely.
You know, and especially playoffs. You know, obviously Tonka had that loss against Holy Family, which is very unexpected, and I think it could have helped us for sure. But the way we were playing, I feel like it would have been a good game. But yeah, for sure. I mean, anything can happen. It could happen to us just like it happened to Minnetonka.
Absolutely.
Well, so Lee, from that point, one and done in the playoffs. There's no series here. You're out, and obviously, life is bigger than a game. But it's very important to everybody that plays this, especially if you're a contender. You know, from year to year, you've had great victories and some tough losses. What's the best part about that situation? You know, because you're on the edge all the time, and you know it's going to end. Only one team wins.
Well, I think it's just when you have great seniors like we've had over the years, their brother Casey and Nolan Sullivan's and the Levermans and now Johnny, you want to see them leave with a smile on their face and giving it everything they had. And I think that's the one thing come playoffs that our kids have always bought into, do what it takes. And, you know, at the end of the day, hopefully it's good enough. But, you know, like last year we played our best game and we lost in a heartbreaker, but we played our best game. You walk away with it and you say, hey, those guys can always feel good about that accomplishment.
You were 2 inches away from a state title. Literally, that pad save you made on that escape to Red Root from Garrett was amazing. Luke, best part about being an Eagle?
I think just hanging out with everybody, going to the rink every day, skating with your best friends. I think nothing beats that. So
He'll never forget it. I'm sure, does Casey talk about it still?
Yeah, he talks about it all the time. He's like, you guys are so lucky to be here. I mean, you gotta work, like, can't take any moment for granted with the team. So, yeah, for sure.
It's pretty funny. So guys that get to that level still talk about this.
Yeah.
You know, even when he's done, you'll look back and these are the memories that you're, you know, Mike Randolph said it best. He said, you know, when Jake, after he graduated, he played in Omaha with the Lancers before he went to UNO. He said when he comes home for Christmas or whatever, or summer, he doesn't go out to California, Connecticut, everywhere else for everybody else. He comes home to be with his guys. And so that it still happens. And so that stuff you'll never forget. So it's just such a great journey for all of that. And to be able to watch you guys grow as a group and play, your creativity is amazing. And your ability to score and lead and your cerebral play. I mean, I've got you. I mean, you're as good a D-man as I've seen. And so it's been really fun to watch you guys. I do. I'm probably over the top on his play. I mean,
a little bit.
It's ridiculous, but
it's warranted.
Well, so Lee, on that point, I want you to go on to these two real quick as far as players. Start with John. I just like his tempo and his ability to make players better around him.
John's always been a wonderful skater, great offensive player, but through the course of the summer, his leadership, his defensive play, everything about his game has improved, and now he's become such a guy that's going to be such a good college player and hopefully beyond, but his game has really just risen, and he's always was really good, but now he's great. He's elite.
How about Luke?
And then Luke's just so much fun to watch back there, how calm he is with the puck and how unselfish he is, and he always makes the right play. We laughed after our first game against Creighton. Gertie was trying to find some clips that he did something wrong, and he couldn't find any, and he was ticked off that he couldn't find any clips of him screwing up.
Gertie.
So just very unselfish, very humble, great family.
How many pucks did Heimer and Gertie have in their pockets yesterday? I mean, I swear, I thought one of them they weren't going to give them because they're out. The bucket's out. Like, they would give first goals, right? There was a ton of them last night, yesterday.
Two first goals by players, and then we had our goalie. First game, he got a shutout. So in his first
he was good.
Yeah, he played very well. So yeah, it was kind of fun to see. But you know, there's not many games on our schedule where that'll happen. So we'll take.
Well, everybody's got to get
their
their first.
What's that?
Everybody's got to get their first, right?
That's right. We gotta try.
I just didn't know if he knew that Krebsbach made an appearance on Friday night.
He had him on the roster, Bart Archer. Why didn't you bring that up? He picked the scab. It was hilarious. Yeah. I looked at that thing.
Krebsbach? It was a faux pas on my part
because
on the
he makes the rosters for us to announce off, and he brought a guy in from last year, and I just like looked at this and I said it on the air. I chirped him. It was funny.
Well, he's doing well. He's playing club hockey in Mankato right now, and he's happy with his choices.
Well, good. Yeah. So that was funny you brought that up. So anyway, you guys have a great season coming up, and I'm looking forward to the Holiday Classic. I think that Rapids team's going to bring it. You're gonna have to buckle up the straps. So they're young, but they're getting some nice wins out there.
Sure. I mean, that's my favorite tournament by far. Going there and playing Edina at Braemar, that late night.
That night's special, isn't it?
Oh, it's my favorite game of the year by far.
What does it feel like on the ice?
I mean, it's awesome. You see Edina on the other side of the ice, and you're just so ready to go. The place is literally electric, and it's the best experience ever.
Everybody's totally into it. Luke, last year's your first. What were your thoughts on that?
I think that was probably the biggest, or at that point, that was the biggest game I've played. And looking around, I think I was as nervous as I could be. I don't think I could stick handle or shoot in warm-ups. So, but once you get
saved it for
into
warm-ups,
that first shift, I think you're good. But.
Don't you guys think that tournament format kind of helps you in the state tournament? I mean, 3 games back to back against good competition. I thought that's a good gauge for coaches to find out where their team is. But don't you think that kind of helped you to your next step once you got to the state tournament?
Yeah, I think the tournament in Prior Lake is the same way. So playing those two, I think that just gets you ready for the state tournament. And so what you.
It's all about your rest, food, and you know, hydrating and how you recover, and that's what it's really good for. We got to move on, Bart. We're bringing on the stars.
Let me just say one thing. I
Please.
appreciate your guys' talents, but your work ethic is second to none. That's one thing I can say, top to bottom. this team works very, very hard, and it's going to benefit you down the
Well,
way. So keep it up.
If
Keep
you
up
want to know
the good
everything that's
work.
right about high school hockey, just look at this trio of people. It represents their community so
Thanks
well.
for joining us
That's an
today.
awesome
Yeah,
job.
thanks for having
Thank you for
We're going to
having
take a time out when we come back. It's going to be Pat Griswold and his Academy of Holy Angel Stars. The Overtime Hockey Podcast continues right after this.
It would break your heart to see what we pull out of here every day. We're out here 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, cleaning up the water.
Probably dump that, man.
You guys need some help?
Sure.
Yeah.
No way. JJ Watt. What's up, man?
How's it going?
I don't believe it. Good.
JJ, come on.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome aboard, baby.
This net for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So what are you guys doing out here? What's the whole cleanup about?
Well, we're just doing the right thing. It's kind of a thankless job. It's out of sight, out of mind. Somebody's got to do it.
What's the dream for the cleanup project?
You know, my dream is for people to think twice before they throw something out.
No problem, boys. I thought I was going to have to come over there and show you how to do it.
That's not going to smell good.
Not pleasant. Great play, baby.
What would you do without these guys?
I would be in trouble. I don't know what I would do. These guys are everything to me.
You ever catch anything? Brackish waters up in here? I'll call it castaneted shrimp. You eat them? No. It's been a good day, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me out here. It's eye-opening to see all the trash and everything that you guys pick up.
For me, it's really not just a job. You know, it's a passion.
I appreciate you having me out. You can swing a mean net, man.
Appreciate you helping us. It was a long, hot day.
You aren't kidding. It's hot. Talk about it. Yeah. The heat's a little different than it is on the field.
Just making sure. Oh, boy. I guess we're live. We're back. Welcome back to the Overtime Hockey Pocket. Bart, we're actually pulling this thing off.
Wow, you're pulling it off.
I
I'm
can't
just along
believe
for
it.
the ride.
No, we're a team here. We win and lose
right.
together.
All right.
Right,
Keep
Kat?
up the good work.
Patrick Griswold and his Academy of Holy Angel Stars, cruising now at 3-0, right? Big win
17
against
and
Evelyn
climbing.
Gilbert yesterday.
Yep.
Nice hockey club too.
Yes.
So let's introduce him. Owen Newharth on the right, senior. We have Stephen Blauert, defenseman, and Caden Phelps, another winger.
Yep.
Right?
All three of our senior captains, yes.
So we have the three senior captains in the house. You guys will share those mics, and then who's this?
This is Callie.
Callie. That's my daughter's name. You're the cutest ever. Look at those big blue eyes.
Those eyes.
Just
right,
amazing.
The Holy Angels colors.
And she's got her stars lit on too. So, guys, let's start with Owen. You guys, I hear you got the belt yesterday.
Yeah.
What'd you do to earn that?
Yeah, 3 apples, my 100th point. So, yeah, it was pretty big. Exciting
How many?
Day. 3 apples, 100 points.
There you go.
In my high school career. So, pretty
It's a
nice.
great milestone.
Yeah, pretty nice to get it done 3 games into the season. So, now I don't have to worry about it anymore, and I can just play and just help lead my team to a really good season again.
And it came with a win, too, which is good.
Yeah, that
When
was
you started
that-
playing high school hockey, did you think you'd get 100? I mean,
No.
that's not a number you don't even really think about.
No.
That's a lot.
I had no idea that I would get here in my high school career. I just wanted to be the best player I could be playing, and it worked out for me. Obviously, I got 100 yesterday, so it was pretty
Congratulations.
nice.
It's
Now you gotta
awesome.
work for the next 100, right?
I know. I got to get to 200 now.
Let's go to Stephen real quick on this one. Your group, and I'm going to ask you this kind of, you can chirp in after this one too. Your group has been young for a while now. You're getting older, and look at you guys, and you're developing. How has that ride been for you as a group, growing up and getting older?
It's been great. So me and Owen came in as sophomores. Caden's been here since like kindergarten, it seems.
Yeah.
Don't forget, he'll get his chance with the microphone.
You're next, so be ready.
But it was a great group. We had great seniors when we were sophomores, and then last year we also had great seniors and captains, and now as seniors, it's a lot to go on. I mean, we had great captains. It was awesome, and now we got some really young guys too this year that hopefully we can do the same thing that the seniors did for us when we were kids, or younger, I should say.
Caden, how about you? Since you've been here since kindergarten.
So 2 different coaching staffs, and then when Coach Grizz came in, we just wanted to focus on like a culture change, and so we've done that, and we can just see that on and off the ice because we're watching film during school and we're just talking hockey all the time, and it's just about being good teammates, and it's just not all about hockey. It's about just being good friends, about relationships, and about grades, and just everything that's going on.
Kind of what we were talking about those other guys, you know, where you can look back at this and say, wow, this has been a really great group. And you guys have a little, I talked to the Benilde-St. Margaret's guys this way, you all come from different programs, so you don't have that history. But that can also be good, right? Because you have fresh slates with each other.
Yeah, I mean, all three of us are very different, but I mean, those two guys are from Prior Lake, I'm from Egan. But yeah, we just all sort of came together as a group and just a really great community.
Pat,
how's really the big thing, Pete, too, is you know, they won't admit it, but I mean, they're great leaders, and you know, we're getting to the point with our culture right now. I don't even have to tell these guys, making sure the young kids get down to the rink, all three of them, make sure they get all of our freshmen and sophomores to the rink. But I think the most important thing is, you know, they're all 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, 4.0 students, and at the end of the day, that's the leadership we want, both on the ice and off the ice. And you know, we always tell new perspective, you know, players is, hey, your first thing is always going to be your academics, and that's what you're here for. Hockey's it's why you're a student athlete first.
Well, I'm going to share a quick story. Gene Larkin, we obviously know who he is, former Twin, won the World Series. That's why I had to kind of, yeah. He won a World Series with a big knock, played in the pros. He said he was an okay baseball player, but a student like that, and he suddenly got a shot to play at Columbia University, Division I baseball school. That's not, you know, LSU, but still. But he excelled and took advantage of his opportunities there, and next thing you know, he's in the big leagues. So if you're a good student first, the rest takes care of itself, and you know, that's part of what you're talking about.
And that's what I tell these guys too, and especially the young guys coming in, is you want to play at the next level, and it opens more doors for you, right?
Why close them?
You can't get into you know, Princeton with a 2.5, right? So it just the better student you are, and just it sets you up for life.
Well, I was just going to say, this is a focus on Steve and being on the back line and being a defense-first defenseman, but you have a lot of offensive skill. You choose to kind of activate, and it changes the dynamic of how they can defend against this Holy Angels team. When do you pick your times to, you just see an opportunity, or is it calculated, or you kind of freestyle and just read the play and react?
So we've been working on it a little bit.
So you didn't forewarn me about it.
Yeah.
So last year especially, I was very, very aggressive. I hopped up a lot. But this year, I'm focusing a little bit more on defensive first in that. But then, like yesterday, when I have some of the chances with our forwards, just like the way we regroup or how the breakout goes up, try to headman it first and then hop into the play and maybe lead it if I get the puck going into it. But really defensive first and then just offensive when I can, because it's hard to defend a defenseman who can hop up in the play.
It's a nice benefit for the coaches to have a defenseman that can actually join the offensive play, but mind defense first. So keep up the good work.
And that's been our focus for 3 years, and it's not just Steven. It's all our guys. Sure. It's all, you know, all 3 lines, all 4 lines playing a 200-foot game. You know, you're not going to beat Benilde and Edina, you know, 9-6 in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, good luck with that, right?
Yeah.
So this is for all 4 of you, actually. Huge history with this school, and when you think about the things and the groundwork that Greg Trevel laid with some incredible hockey teams that just absolutely were dynamic to watch play, you know, that was 15 years ago. I mean, we're talking almost your entire lifetime. So has your coach, let's start with you, have you kind of tried to draw a line between the 2 generations, and how have you tapped into that? And then when you guys answer that question, has that touched you? Let's start with you.
Well, I mean, our D coach, Jared Hummel, was on 2 of those state championship teams, so he tries to talk as much as possible about, you know, his experience. He won it as a freshman, won it as a senior. He's making a lot of similarities, you know, to some of his early years to, you know, our squad now, and you know, and there he's always there for those guys. You know, our alums are getting back involved again, which is good, which we want as well too. And when we're talking to new kids, we constantly discuss. So we've had 35 Division I guys since 2000. We've had 7 guys since 2000 that, you know, put an NHL jersey on. We've had another 32 that have played Division III hockey, and we've had a lot of guys that have gone on and played club hockey as well too. So there's a long history there. There's 2 state titles, and you know, and then our academic state title a couple years ago as well.
So has that touched you guys? Do you feel it at all?
I mean, yeah, we definitely asked Hummel a lot of questions about it, probably annoyingly, but
yeah,
we always ask him just like, how would you compare these teams? How are we similar? How are we different? How can we just be more like them? I don't know. We just want to find and try to be as close to them as we can be, just because they're such a great group for those 4 years.
Do you feel like you're getting there?
Yeah, no, I think we do. We are for sure. I'm a little with Coach Hummel. He's the D coach, so I guess I have a little bit more one-on-one time with him than these two, but not. I guess, yeah. So he's talked about his state championship team a lot and how he did as a freshman and a senior, and he brings up the freshman team a lot, where they weren't like the best of the best team. They weren't like, people didn't think they were the best team the whole year, but they really they all around, they came together and they just made a run for it at the end.
Well, they played as a unit of 20, really.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing there, and that's a lot. All of us are better than one of us. That's what I always say. So, I mean, that's kind of, I think, what he's touching on. And then for you, Owen, I mean, have you felt it?
Yeah, definitely. Like, Hummel loves telling his stories about his old,
glory
glory days
much,
back
right?
when he was my age. Yeah.
That's
so
great.
yeah, it's definitely a cool thing to like kind of like see where you measure up against like great teams at one state tournament. Like, there's obviously something special with that team. So like, if we have something kind of like that, that's pretty cool to like see and compare to. Those teams were pretty good.
They were really good.
Really good team.
Really good.
So yeah.
Well, there's a tradition that I think Coach Griswold established as far as at the end of the game they choose somebody to get the belt. And after last game, Owen, you got the belt with your 3 apples. But your line mate, Noah Griswold, I think, had a hat trick and an apple and maybe a shorty in that. Can you at least offer like an intercontinental belt or something like that?
Yeah, really. Tag team title, or what are we doing? Oh, he grabbed that
Anytime
right away.
gets I mean, there was no question yesterday. I mean, you hit 100 points, huge milestone. It's been a long time since we've had someone, and there was no questions asked.
But don't you get the Intercontinental's not quite the world heavyweight?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm a wrestling guy.
I am too. Well, I just needed to go there. Our sound guy's a wrestling guy too, so we just got to get that, throw that reference out there too. For you, where can this group go?
I don't think I mean, I think we'd all admit we're not even close to where we want to be right now. We got a long ways to go. We got a lot of things to work on. But, you know, we say it every day. We don't want to be playing our best hockey in November and the first week of December. You know, I think I really, and I said this since the summer, I think it's a special group that can, you know, we can do some damage. But, you know, there's a lot of things to get there. There's a lot of things we got to work on. And, you know, it all starts in our D zone, starts with our composure, and it starts being consistent and playing 51 minutes.
Well, pretty good start so far.
How bought into it are you guys?
We're very bought in. I mean, sometimes I'm just waking up in the middle of the night thinking of Coach Griswold's cliches, like listen, work hard, be coachable. Don't know an answer on the test. Listen, work hard, be coachable. Wish that would have helped me in calculus, but yeah, just all those cliches. They do mean something. People just think it could just be a saying, but it's all those one-game seasons. Just on to the next one. Focus on that one game at a time. Because that's truly what it is.
It truly is. It's, you know, play it like it's your last.
See that Gopher reference, 1-game season?
Yeah, I did.
Want to know championship week?
Ask,
love it.
Steven, the energy right here, how much do you guys feed off his energy as a coach?
He always brings it, whether it's before the games, during practice. He always wants us to be locked in and focused. But, like, I guess it helps whether we're up by 5 goals or we're down by 5 goals, just to have, like, a coach and a mentor in the back just with lots of energy, just keep us going, keep us positive, and just help us through the way.
Final question for me, Owen, best part of being not just a player but a student at the Academy of Holy Angels?
It's the best of both worlds right now. Like, school-wise, like, I'm getting a great education. It's really awesome. Like, my teachers are great. But then athletically, like, I got a great coach, really good coaching staff. My teammates are awesome. Our team's doing really well. Like, there's nothing more I could ask for.
So it's perfect. Guys, we got to wish you the best of luck, because are we out of time? Bart, one more question. Just pull it out.
No, just looking forward. Now, you want to play your best hockey, obviously, in February. What does the holidays hold for Holy Angels? What's the schedule in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so as you know, we're in the Catholic Cup, and that's just a one-day tournament, or one-game exhibitions games. So we play Holy Family. Yep, we play Holy Family. Starts off with Cathedral Totino, us Holy Family, Cretin, Benilde, and then Hill and St. Thomas. So that'll be great exposure for the boys. And then the Herb Brooks Classic, the old Schwann's Cup, so we'll have that for a 3-day tournament and some solid teams there, and it'll be fun.
It's gonna be a great showcase day at the Tria Rink. It's gonna be really fun, wall-to-wall hockey. All right on our
mnhockey.tv.
Thank you. You want a job? I found it, baby. That's really good. So that's going to be a really great day, and we're looking forward to all of those matchups. Good rivalries.
Yep.
and it's going to close out with St. Thomas Academy in Hill.
And we're excited to play Holy Family. We've never played Holy Family before, and
It's
we're
gonna be a good
really,
game.
really excited to
It's
play
gonna be
them.
a very, very
These
good
guys
game.
know these guys all the way up, and it'll be a lot of fun.
That's great. Well, let's take a time out when we come back. If he gets here, he should be. Tom Reid will join us from the Minnesota Wild, former North Star, and we're going to talk about Wishes and More, which is what this is all about, which is very important to him as he's on the board and is a key founder of that. And we'll talk some Wild hockey, the hottest team in the West. Can you believe it?
That's right. Go Stars, Pound the Rock.
Thank you. We'll be back with more right after this.
Wishes and More send me to Disney World.
Hi, my name is Giovanni Lopez, and I was 17 years old when I got diagnosed with the stage 2 testicular cancer.
Hi, my name is Josh, and my wish was for a game room.
My friend got a wish from Wishes and More, and I think Wishes and More is really cool.
We wanted to make the time Emily had as full and as much of a celebration of her life as we could, and Wishes and More helped with that.
Wishes and More isn't a what, it's a who. We are comprised of volunteers and a small staff and supporters who care about the kids in our community and want to do something to make it very special for those kids or to support the families who lose their child. We actually have 3 programs.
Hi, I'm Christy, and my daughters were Abby, Rose, and Sarah Ann. We were introduced to Wishes and More when we were inpatient with Abby at University of Minnesota Children's Hospital. We made the change to have a play set installed in our backyard and have a special reclining swing for Abby that all of her medical equipment could be attached to. And within 10 days it was installed and we were playing on it in our backyard. We were able to use it every day for a full 11 days before Abby passed away.
Josh's wish still continues today because there are so many times where Josh just can't do what everyone else gets to do, and as normal as we try to make his life, it just isn't a normal life. And so when there's birthday parties he can't go to, or when there's been treatment days and he has to miss out on hockey or hockey practice, he goes down into his game room and he turns on that bubble hockey machine and it plays the Star Spangled Banner, and I know that he's in his good place and he's happy down there.
Our memorial program was developed for those very, very sad situations when a child did not survive to experience their wish. We didn't want to just say goodbye. We wanted to show them that we did care. There's no other organization that does that for any families in Minnesota, but we do.
In the fall after Abby had passed away, Sarah started showing some of the same signs that Abby had, and it was very scary. We weren't sure what was going on, and we called our doctors and they examined her right away. They were able to confirm it was the same thing happening to Sarah. We had kind of forgot about our wish application. Things went downhill very quickly. Sarah had passed away, and it was a couple days later and got a call, and Wishes and More was calling to tell us that they were at a memorial for us. Sarah was our little butterfly. She bounced around and never sat still and was always in motion. So Sarah was our little butterfly, and we wanted to build that garden in her memory. Our bench says, "Those we have held in our arms for a little while, we hold in our hearts forever."
You know, that saying almost can be our saying for Wishes and More, because it's the same thing. When we hold these families in our arms for a little while, we actually do hold them forever, Christy. I mean, you know that. We do. We hold them forever and hope that they feel that. And we're so grateful for what you've done in talking about Wishes and More and how brave you are to talk about your girls. Our Scholarship of Hope program was created in order to make sure that every child and every family that came to us knew that we were hopeful and we were looking to their future.
Wishes and More is giving a scholarship of hope to Josh, so the Wish continues to keep on giving. And not only for Josh, but for us as parents who have been through a lot financially with the medical trauma that we've been through with him. It's really nice to know that Wishes and More will still be with us as his future continues.
My wish for Wishes and More was a shopping spree. I really wanted a MacBook. I knew I was heading off to college. I knew I needed a good computer to work. I got my little sister a dress because her 3rd birthday was coming up, so helped my parents out with that and got her a little dress. And I bought my little brother some shoes that they really wanted. And not only did Wishes and More grant me a wish, but they also gave me a scholarship of hope, which was $1,000 towards any college of my choosing. I come from a low-income family, so I knew that I either had to keep working to go to school or find some way to pay for college, and that scholarship of hope really helped me out and my family.
You asked who Wishes and More is? Wishes and More is you. It's simply people who care about kids, care about families who are going through some really tough.
And we welcome you back to the Overtime Hockey Podcast from Joe Sensor's Kitchen and Bar in Bloomington, Minnesota. Along with Bart Archer, we're joined now by Tom Streeter. Sorry about that. That's just totally live TV for you. By Tom Streeter with the Minnetonka Skippers, and he's representing his club. Of course, you came off an incredible year last year. Before we do that, I do want to mention that we are doing all of this to bring attention and awareness to Wishes and More, which is an incredible foundation that grants all types of money, wishes, and things like that to kids with life-threatening illnesses, and have made an incredible inroads with it, and it's a great organization. Tom Reid, who will be joining us later in the day, is a big part of that as well. And it's a big part of Joe Sensor's life, who's a friend of mine, and it's very important for us to be able to give to him, to give to them, to give to all. So thank you, Tom, for joining us here today. Our guy Goldie was not feeling well today.
Yeah, Goldie got a text right after I texted you, Pete, said I was on my way and got 100-degree fever. Can't be sick for the start of the week. We have 5 days of practice coming up before a trip to Moorhead, so I said, I'd stick up for the team.
Beautiful. So he got nervous, is what it was.
Well, Goldie loves to talk, like you guys know. He is not nervous.
Goldie
Goldie
has never met a camera or a microphone he didn't like.
Absolutely.
Incredible. He is a master communicator. Wouldn't you say that? So your team obviously had a close game against St. Thomas Academy at St. Thomas last night. Turned out to be a 3-2 loss. You had another tough, close one with Prior Lake. Obviously, on the record side of things, at 1-4, it's not really what you want to hear or feel or see. But at the end of the day, this is a team that's regrouping and see you later, Jack. Take care. Regrouping and changing its identity.
Absolutely. I think you've talked to Coach Goldsworthy on your podcast. We're trying to identify who we are and what our strengths and weaknesses are right now. Last night, the first line from St. Thomas Academy, probably one of the fastest lines you're going to see in the state. Jackson Hallam is an unbelievable hockey player. He made some moves on a couple of our guys that made us look like we were standing still, but we're getting used to that speed. We've got 3 new defensemen playing back there with a sophomore. We've got probably our 3rd and 4th lines are seeing time right now because they're new to the program. But the good thing is we've got 3 seniors who are on our team from 2 years ago that went through the whole process of getting to that state championship game and bringing home our first state title. So they know what it's going to take in the long run, and our schedule will help define us at the end of the season.
So for players that are coming in that observed and have experienced success at the younger levels, and then this stuff just doesn't happen automatically, how important it is for you guys as a group and a crew, how have you been working with them to stay on course and follow through with what they need to do?
Yeah. So, 2 years ago when Goldie came in, talked about changing the culture like Coach Griswold said when he came in. His motto was trust the process. So every game, every period, every practice, we're identifying, what do we need to do to get better on a daily basis. And we've seen that over the last 2 games now. From the Prior Lake game, we had a not so good first period, but we saw some growth in the 2nd and 3rd. Last night, we probably played our best hockey of the season. So we're seeing that growth, and what we see on the ice in our game time reflects on what we work on in practice. So we're just going to take it, one step at a time.
Well, when we watched the Minnetonka Skippers play against that Prior Lake team, you could see some good things happening. And Minnetonka works very hard. They can skate like the way they always have, as far as a common denominator in the program. But there were so many shot attempts. There were probably 30 shot attempts in that period. Not all of them made it to the net, but you're still getting the shot attempts, so you can see the positives. You're getting the offensive zone time. You're getting the looks. Prior Lake just defended very, very well, so there's a lot of encouraging things going on. But obviously, Minnetonka's going through growing pains. Are the parents supportive? Everybody kind of understands the situation, because it is a work in progress, but you guys are making the necessary steps and getting to where I think you want to be.
Well, I think that's the beauty about being on the west side is, as you guys know, you've got great support from your community, from your administration, from your parents, and that's what makes teams like Benilde, Edina, Wayzata, the Stars, Minnetonka successful, is because we've got that support. And, they know that every year is different. And you've heard goalies say this, Pete. Comparisons are toxic. So you can't compare, what happened 2 years ago or what happened last year to this team. Because this new team, they're all different players. They all have different skill sets. They all have different strengths. And we just have to find that combination to unharness that Tonka hockey power.
And now they have different roles. I mean, like Miller jumping in and taking maybe the Doctor of the Linky role. So it's probably a little bit of an adjustment. He's certainly capable of doing that, maybe not in the same fashion, but still offensively dynamic, but he still minds the defensive zone. One thing about Minnetonka is they always play very sound defense. From what I saw in your goaltending looks like it's starting to kind of take shape and be in pretty good shape.
It's starting to take shape. When we got Jack Hillen, and Pete and I were talking about this after the Stars segment, Jack grew up in that Stars culture back with Coach Treble, and we hear those same stories that probably those boys that just came off were talking about.
It, yeah. He tells those stories instead of NHL stories.
Exactly.
And that's incredible.
Someone asked me this morning, or Coach Smith asked me this morning, how are you guys doing? I said, well, we're doing fine. I think Hillen probably takes it the most serious because of his, playing at CC and then playing in the NHL with several different teams. Again, we'll figure it out. We've got great players, and it's going to come down to 3 games.
Let's be honest, he's legit competitive.
He's legit competitive.
How good is he with your defensemen? Obviously you have 2 major talents, more of them last year, but you think of the 2 and 3 on your roster, Dr. Licky. But I saw him improve them in ways that you don't see a lot of D-men coaches. Can you kind of touch into the things that he's going through with those guys?
Jack Hillen is such a perfectionist. He wants the stick in the right spot. He wants your body angles in the right spot. He wants your feet pointing in the right direction. Details matter, and that's one of our sayings in our organization is details matter. And understanding what we're trying to teach is one thing, but understanding the details that go behind that are second to none with those guys.
Looking ahead to the Tradition in the Park tournament, we've got a few games at the St. Louis Park Rec Center.
Yeah, we've got.
It's a special week.
We've got quite the lineup.
Got a grinder there.
We got a grinder, and again, Coach Smith.
Do you have Lakeville South?
No, we have Benilde, Andover, and Maple Grove.
1, 2, 3.
So that's the meat grinder.
Yeah, all right.
But again, Coach Smith said this a couple segments ago. You've got to be able to go through that 3-game stretch and understand what it's going to take. Refresh your body, recover, hydrate. That's going to be a great litmus test for our club.
And through challenge comes growth. You're going to be a better team at the end of that those 3 games as you are going into it, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, each game is different. Each game has a different texture. It's unique, and it's really important to be able to adjust and play your game, yet play the game before you. And I think that's the best learning experience you can have.
Yep. You can't learn without having some failure along the way.
Sure.
Absolutely. So in the end, this is a great group of kids that you have, and you have incredible support around the Minnetonka Hockey Association, the high school, and everything else. One of my favorite rinks to be in, Pagel Activity Center, when that thing's hopping, isn't that special?
Well, we've had some really good crowds early in the season. The Rosemount crowd was a really good crowd. You guys have seen the Edina crowds when they come in.
Those are awesome.
I had a call from Coach Sainty before the Rosemount game. He said, hey, we heard the game's going to be a sellout. I said, Ricky, no offense, but the only games that sell out are Edina and Eden Prairie. So your fans are fine to show up at normal game time.
So you're good.
So you're good. But it was a great crowd. We probably, the track was full all the way around. The bottom section was full. The stands were full.
The band was pumping.
The band was playing. It's always good when the band's Pete, we talked about the band the other day at your drummer background.
Just bless him. It was terrific.
Well, Let's face it, the sound needs a little bit of tweaking in Pagel Activity Center
so
too.
Funny. It's my favorite part though. Without it, it would be dead. It would be no good.
Well, it's a unique rink in the state of Minnesota. It doesn't have the culture of the rinks up north, but that track around the rink and putting you guys right at center ice, you get to hear both benches. You get to hear You get to hear the interaction of the referees and the coaches when they're giving them whatever they want to talk about during the game.
Great.
And you guys get the vibe being right there.
It's like old school Roman Coliseum where you're out over. It's unbelievable. So we're running out of time here. We're gonna have another segment coming up. Tom Reid, I know, was coming in from Carolina as the Wild fell 6-2 last night to them, going 2-1 on that road trip. Terrific stuff in the southeastern part of the country. Jumped themselves into a wild card spot, which is amazing when you consider that horrific 1-6 start they had and how they were over 500. So the hat is officially, it's incredible with the number of road games they've done. I don't think many teams could do it, so I'm buying in. I have to say, Bruce Boudreau has probably punched his ticket for a couple of more years.
Done a good job so
Actually,
far.
I see Tom's here right now, so we're going to bring him in next.
Great. Well, we'll be seeing you guys a lot over the next couple
Absolutely.
weeks.
You'll be so sick of me.
2 home games and 3 in the park.
That's probably why Goldie blew us off, because he's going to see too much of us.
He's going to see too much of you, and we
All
got a
right, there you
podcast
go.
coming up too. So
All right,
thanks,
buddy.
Pete.
Thank you. When is that one scheduled?
We'll talk.
Oh, I just want to get everybody ready for it. That's all. Goldie's podcast.
How about Tuesday this week?
Perfect. We're on it. Tuesday, Goldie's podcast will be live and on the air or recorded. When we come back, Tom Reid joins us here from Joe Sensor's Kitchen and Bar in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Overtime Hockey Podcast continues.
Too heavy? Try it.
I got
it. Lift it up. 1, 2, 3. Good. Looks great.
Yeah.
Wow, this looks amazing. Can I help you make a few?
Sure.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm Derek. Nice to meet you. So how long have you been doing this?
2 years.
2 years. So you're an expert.
Yes.
Can you do one with my name?
Sure.
D-E-R-E-K?
D-R-E-K.
D-E-R-E-K.
D-E-R-E-K?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the ultimate dream for your business?
I really wish I had more bracelets to make every single day.
What do you do with the money?
We have this hunger project that I give back to the kids that don't have enough money to buy food.
So the more bracelets you make, the more money you raise, and then the more kids you can help out. How long have you had this dream?
10 years.
So you're 6 years old and you had the dream for 10 years. That's pretty good. That's someone that knows what they want to do in life.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what do you think about this?
Ooh.
Pretty good?
Yep.
Okay.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Did I move my chair? I shouldn't have moved.
No, you're good. You're perfect. You're perfect. Are we ready? Yeah. Well, we're back once again from Joe Sensor's Kitchen and Bar. Obviously, a man that Tom Reid and I are very close with, and Tom, what a great guy, and you're part of Wishes and More. We'll get into all of that first, but I want to talk about really why we're here, and it's important charity for you that you're started basically, right?
Well, I'm part of the Wishes and More now. Actually, I was with Carla Blomberg, who we started Make-A-Wish back in 1982. If you remember, we did over 6,000 wishes with them, and we broke away and we wanted to make an organization that had a little bit more than Make-A-Wish was offering, although it's a great organization. And so we started something, and it's gone well. It's independent. There's no other Wishes and More around the country. And as a result of that, we've probably done over 10,000 wishes so far since I started in '82. So that's a pretty nice number.
That's incredible. So some of the things that we have this great memorabilia here that's up for auction through the end of the Vikings game. You can come on down here, take a look at it. It's to me, it's Christmas time. So why not? The one I want is that there's a North Star one right there. I think we got Louis on there. We got Broughton. I see Madonna and Cicerelli.
Yeah, see, I'm not on there because it's all color. It's not just black and white. I go
but
way
that would
back.
be the retro look, though. That'd be really good.
I was with Louis this past trip. He did 3 of the games on TV when we were in Florida and in Tampa and we were in New Jersey Carolina. I don't know where I am half the time. Right, that's exactly. It was nice there too. But Louis is great. We've known each other over 50 years, so we've done a lot together. We've gone to Vietnam together to visit the troops. We've gone to Kuwait together to visit the troops. So our history goes back a long way. But he's a fun guy to be around. A lot of stories.
Well, and he's a fun guy to listen to on the air too. I mean, the stuff he was saying was just. You just don't hear it's so unique.
Well, the good thing is I'm on the radio, so I don't have to listen.
I know, yeah, because you've heard it all, right?
I've heard it all
over and over again. Lou, you're repeating it now.
I see Mr. Sensor coming in here.
Oh,
too.
There's Joe right there.
Yeah.
Good to see him. So obviously we put this together. This is a foundation that's very important to Joe too.
Right, yeah, and Joe's been a big part of helping kids. I mean, what he's done in the community over the years has been tremendous. I remember he and Scott Ledoux, I mean, were very, very active in all kinds of charities around, and Joe and I go back. We go back a long way. In fact, he was in my wedding many, many years ago.
He was in your wedding?
And I was in his wedding, yes.
And you were in his?
Yes.
Well, I didn't know you guys were that close.
That's how old we are.
Wow. Well, that's right about your zip code.
Say that again?
He said that's how old we are. He said that's right about your zip code.
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
I use him to make myself feel young. It doesn't really work, but they're bad jokes. We'll just leave it at that. So let's just downshift into the Wild a little bit. I mean, they catapult from that 1-6 start into a wild card spot after the win in Tampa. Fall yesterday to Carolina, it happens, right? But this is a team that really, and I heard you say this on the radio, and I was thinking this about Matt Zuccarello. He's just such a pro, and his presence, I'm feeling. Can you kind of talk about him and what's going on there?
Yeah, it isn't just him, but what I like about Matt, he's not a big guy. He's only 5'8".
Yeah.
All right, but he's probably our most gifted playmaker on the front end, on the forward lines, and like a lot of seasoned veterans, they had a little bit of a slower start, which I think Matt had. You know, Zach Parisi had it, and you could just see it wasn't quite going the way they wanted. But even talking to Bruce Boudreau. Was talking about the fact that it takes a while for the veterans really to gear up. It takes them 10 to 15 games. And we saw that. As a result of that, now all of a sudden these guys are starting to pick up the pace and make some good things happen. And what I like about this team is they're playing well collectively. I mean, it's not just, we don't have any superstars. We don't have those big name players because we've never drafted high. Our drafts have always been, it's always been.
Gabrick, maybe.
Yeah. We just don't get the high draft choices. And in order to get good in this league, you have to be bad because you have to get the high draft choices or make deals where you get more draft choices. Last year, they made a few trades, and we got some players. School's still out. It takes about a year, really, for me to determine whether or not it's going to be a good trade or not. But it takes time for these guys to develop also, and you hope it's going to work out for you. It doesn't always work out, but you want to make a trade that hopefully both teams prosper because of it. And making trades is fine. Look, they traded Wayne Gretzky. I actually got traded, believe it or not. Somebody actually wanted me. But
that was the North Stars that wanted you, right?
Yeah, I came from Chicago back in 1969.
We were talking about the Gretzky trade yesterday on the air, Jimmy Carson and all that, you know. And you know, so he said, but did that really work out for Los Angeles? They didn't get what they wanted, which was the cup. They got the recognition with the great one and Marty McSorley being there. But it validated them as a hockey market, but they didn't get the cup.
But it helped them grow the game in California, big time. And I've interviewed Wayne many times, but one story, when they had the All-Star game here, Anheuser-Busch asked me if I would introduce and interview Wayne Gretzky. I said, sure, I'll do that. So we came into the room, and there's a sheet of paper about 8.5 by 10, and all of his records are on one side. And they had to have 70-something records that he had accomplished. And I just said to the fans, there's about 300 people there. I said, just take a look at those records that he has. And, of course, everyone picked up the sheet of paper and looked at it and thought, wow, look at all these. I said, now turn it over. Mine's on the back. Well, it was totally blank. It wasn't one thing on there. So that was pretty funny.
But you both have the same thing. You played significant minutes in the National Hockey League and in playoff games. And, I mean, there's not a lot of men in the world that have had that opportunity. How great was that for you to be able to do that?
It was great. Coming from a small town in Canada, Fort Erie, Ontario, across from Buffalo, New York. I mean, I never dreamed about playing in the National Hockey League. When I was growing up, there's only 6 teams. Now you've got 31 teams, and a couple more years you're going to have 32 teams. But the jobs weren't as plentiful as they are today. And the other part is that you have a lot of Europeans now coming in, where Canada used to be about 90%, and now they're like 48%. Because of the American and how it's grown in the U.S. and how it's grown in Sweden and Finland and Czech Republic and Russia and so on. So it's pretty interesting. But to be able to step in and play 11 years and over 700 games is
So what is it
pretty
about
exciting.
98% Finn goalies? Is that what it is in the league
Pretty
now?
close to
what
it.
is that? I like that guy, by the way.
Yeah, the Finns
Is he
really.
gonna stick here? I mean, what are they going to do with him?
Well, he's going to stay here right now because of the fact that Devin Dubik is out right now with some family issues. So. He'll stay here for at least for now, and I'm sure we'll see him in the next few days.
He is cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, he's very calm, very collected. He's a wonderful kid. I mean, he's very quiet. And if you look, I mean, never vacates that blue paint area. He likes to stay there where stay like he thinks he's a defenseman sometimes. So he goes out. But he's good.
I just have a quick question for you. Tom, kind of going to put you on the spot a little bit. If you were commissioner for the day, is there anything in particular in the NHL that you would change?
I would make sure the broadcasters got more money.
I would concur with that. If I'm your vice guy, I would certainly support that.
Who's that guy behind me? He's still got the grip.
So the bracket, and then what else?
What I don't like, I'm not a big fan of the red line being taken out because I think the game's too fast. Sure. It's difficult for a defenseman going back there. Now you can't touch anybody in front of the net anymore. Well, we could manhandle a few guys.
Well, I remember the way it was back in the day. It was a war zone.
You can't touch anybody anymore. So there's a couple things I would change. But as far as the speed and the skill of the players, it's absolutely terrific. These guys work hard all the time.
It's very evident. You know, when you think about a typical NHL game, I don't care if it's Team 31 versus Team 1. Anybody has a chance to play with anybody at any time. And what I've noticed most is how the defensive game, you think back to those games with the goalies with no gear. I mean, you could, and it hurt when it hit them. It's different because I think the goaltenders have gotten so much more secure in their position, and the gear has helped them. It's tougher to score, but also I think coaching in defensive play has become so much better over the past 2 decades.
Well, I mean, we didn't have much coaching, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Our coaches told us when to go on the ice and, pretty well what the line combinations were going to be. Yeah. But nowadays, everything is videotaped. They watch all the previous games by the other teams and what they're doing and so on. And it's they have their own theater in their rink, so they can watch all this stuff too on the big screens and try to ascertain what they have to do to win that next game. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them.
I'm in charge of the obscure questions. Say, when you joined the North Stars, and I believe it was 68-69 season.
Correct.
Now they came into play in '67, and they were an expansion team. They had a lot of pretty experienced players on that team at that time. Coming in as a rookie, there were a lot of established players in the NHL. How was the locker room? You didn't play a whole bunch, but how did they receive you as the new spry young lad in the locker room?
Well, I wasn't a rookie then because I played in Chicago before that. I was with the Blackhawks.
As far as the locker room, how did they embrace you?
They were great. I mean, you know what? Hockey's a family, and there's players that I see like Barry Gibbs. I haven't seen him in a long time. It's like it was yesterday.
Right.
There's a lot of guys. I saw Phil Esposito. I played against for many years. Saw him down in Tampa. So it's pretty fortunate for me that I get a chance to go around and see some of these guys that I've played with or played against over the years. And when you come into a locker room, you don't know anybody, which I didn't. They embrace you pretty quickly. You know, they make you feel a part of the organization.
Was there somebody in particular that stepped up and kind of helped your assimilation?
Well, Louis is one of those guys.
Okay.
I mean, Louis made me feel good.
Claude
LaRose, I mean, another guy that was here at the time. Yep. So it was kind of fun for me to be a part of that. And just guys, you're like a mouse. You sit in the corner. You don't say a great deal. You listen to who's kind of leading the parade here.
Was the relationship with teammates different than it is now? I mean, it seems like back then they have lifelong friends. Do they still have that? Do you still see that continuity through the generations?
No, I don't. I don't see it as much now because you've got so many different nationalities, and some of the players don't have the greatest. Well, they don't have the grasp of the English language yet, so they're a little bit nervous.
Yep.
You try to make them feel like that, but you've got the Finns, and you got the Swedes, and you got the Russians, you got the Canadians and Americans, which is fine. And you want them to feel part of it. I know that when we played, we used to always go to Howard Wong's or Ranch House and so on. As a group, we'd have 13, 14 couples that would go there. After every game, we'd always be together. I don't see that as much anymore.
Well, and so in baseball, they go with the interpreters out to the mound now. So in hockey, you'd have to have the United Nations. There's just so many. It's incredible. Well, I think that's a testament to the game and the level and worldwide. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. A lot of these young kids come in, though, they have a pretty good grasp of the English language.
They do.
I look at Fiala. He speaks 5 languages. 5 different languages, so he understands that. Some of these guys have, 3 or 4 because of where they live, the proximity, especially with the Finns and the Swedes and so on. It's pretty similar, so it's interesting how they communicate. If they like Kapanen, I was wondering how he's going to communicate with his defenseman, but he has perfect English. I mean, he's
It's
terrific.
almost like he's a Minnesotan now. He's even got the nasal thing going like we all do here. So we got to wrap up this segment. A couple quick questions for you. Honestly, could they be a playoff team here?
They could be a playoff team. We don't have the star status some of the teams have, but this team, I think, collectively has played very well together lately. Now it's a long season, and we've had 20 games on the road, only 10 at home. We're coming into a stretch starting December 21st, where almost for 2 months we have 4 road games and we have 18 home games. So the home games are really, really important for this hockey.
You're going to be so rested, you're not even know what to do with yourself. I mean, you don't even know who you are, right? That's
My
right
wife she'll want me out of the house.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
tell you that. Yeah.
And then the final question is, how do we best get a hold of Wishes and More, make donations? Is there a best course of action there?
Wishes and More, it isn't so much that they're out soliciting dollars, although the dollars have helped to pay for the kids' wishes, but you can always find them on the website at just Wishes and More and spell out the whole thing.com and you'll find them. But it's a great organization, and the kids, it's fun to see the kids. I've been involved in a lot of Wishes over the years. It's terrific to see the smiles on their faces.
That's great stuff. I know Joe's waiting for you, our good friend. And Tom, thanks for joining us. That was great.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
The Red Knights of Benilde-St. Margaret standing by. They're in the red. You can't miss them. It's beautiful. I think they're the only deep red team in high school hockey. Well, that's relevant anyway. Did I just say that? We'll be back with more right after this.
It would break your heart to see what we pull out of here every day. We're out here 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, cleaning up the water.
Probably dump that, man.
You guys need some help?
Sure.
Yeah. No way. JJ Watt.
What's up, man?
How's it going?
I don't believe it. Good.
JJ.
Come on.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome aboard, baby.
Isn't that for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So what are you guys doing out here? What's the whole cleanup about?
Well, we're just doing the right thing. It's a kind of a thankless job. It's out of sight, out of mind. Somebody's got to do it.
What's the dream for the cleanup project?
My dream is for people to think twice before they throw something out.
No problem, boys. I thought I was going to have to come over there and show you how to do it.
That's not going to smell good.
Not pleasant. Great play, baby.
What would you do without these guys?
I would be in trouble. I don't know what I would do. These guys are everything to me.
You ever catch anything? Brackish waters up in here? I've caught castaneted shrimp. You eat them? No. It's been a good day, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me out here. It's eye-opening to see all the trash and everything that you guys pick up.
For me, it's really not just a job. It's a passion.
I appreciate you having me out. You can swing a mean net, man.
Appreciate you helping us. It was a long, hot day.
You aren't kidding. It's hot. Talk about it. Yeah, the heat's a little different than it is on the field.
And we welcome you back to the Overtime Hockey Podcast, along with my guy, Bart Archer. On the end, we've got 4 Red Knight captains. That's like a fifth of the team, right?
Yeah, there's some talent up here.
Just leadership everywhere. James Callahan on the right, senior defenseman. Blake Messenberg, senior forward. Seamus Foley, senior defenseman. Carson Limesand, junior goalie. Guys, thanks for coming. Your coach said that you could handle this yourselves, and that he wanted to give you the stage. So just so you know, that's kind of what's going on here. So let's start. I'll start with you, James, on the end here. You guys had yourselves a couple of good games. That Hermantown team was pretty big and heavy. There's been a ton of expectations on your team so far. Would you say right now, how do you feel the way you're playing? Can you guys be better at this stage of the season?
Yeah, for sure. We could play better as a team, and we're kind of not playing the full. We're not playing the full game. We're only playing some periods. We're there, and some periods we're not. So I think together as a team, we could play as one, and the whole game would make it a lot better.
I think we went viral with your sister. Did you hear about that?
I heard about that.
Yeah, your dad came up to me and we shouted them out wherever they were in Madison, and they went nuts. So that was good.
Like that, yeah.
So they brought us, they put us on the map. So thank you. How about you, Blake? Where do you think you guys are as a group? I thought I had this. I thought you guys got better and better as the game went on yesterday.
Yeah, I would say that right now I think we're
getting chances from all of our lines, and I think our depth is really showing as we're getting goals from all 4 of our lines even. So I think that's helping a lot in games that maybe kids aren't showing up. So I think that depth is really helping us out.
Blake Biondi is a heck of a player, Seamus. Can you talk about defending against him? Were you out there much with him?
I was out there a good amount with him, me and Schweitzer and James. And
Yeah.
Sardi were all out there, and it's when you know you're going up against a guy, you got to respect him, but you can't respect him too much and give him all those time and space in the world, because if you give him that time and space, he's going to make something happen, like you saw in the first couple seconds.
He's interesting because he seemed to he plays well with space, but then he also plays well when he's up on you too, a little bit.
It was a lot
right?
stronger than I thought he was going to be.
I know.
He was super strong, super physical.
So, but that makes you better, right?
Yeah, it's really fun playing against those really high-end guys.
And then from you, I saw you. I know you've had some injury issues.
Yep.
I don't know if it was the Brainerd game, but you kind of fell weird, you know? Hey, remember, it was over toward the right post, and I go, uh-oh.
Yeah, no, I think that was Brainerd game.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, so tell us about your health and kind of walk us through that, and where are you going to feel for the rest of the year?
So I just got back from a fractured pelvis, and I'm just battling through it, and hopefully I can just stay away from injuries for the rest of the season and be here for these guys.
Being a goaltender with this group, what's it like playing in front of them?
Well, I mean, we have a great offense back, and then our defense holds me in like the net. They're there for me all the time, and playing with them is just it's great. It's a great experience.
James, you guys have a lot of expectations on you. You know, when you were younger, maybe this was a setup where, you know, you just go out there and play, see what we get. Now you're in a position where people expect you to win every night. What's that pressure like?
I mean, it's definitely harder, but we expect it out of ourselves too. So, I mean, it just makes us better. And if we play like we should, we can do that. So, yeah.
Bart, you got one?
Yeah, I guess this is for James. James, obviously you're with Schweitzer to start the game, then they kind of shuffled a little bit. But I think your offensive skills are a little undervalued. Obviously your defense first, you kind of mind the store. But do you plan on getting a little bit more involved offensively, or you just kind of pick your spots? But you have the offensive talent. I just don't see you using it maybe as much as I would vision that you could. Is that calculated, or?
I mean, yeah, Gusso loves our coach, D-coach, loves us jumping into play, being the fourth man. So he encourages us to try to do that. So we all
encourage you to do a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
All right, we'll go down to Seamus for us. When you guys talk, I'm told by our director, Tanner Lalick, back there, just get it right up top here. And when you in broadcasting school, talk through the microphone to the back end, so just drive it. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, we're going to start a play-by-play class because we have so many games. It's like ridiculous. Just kidding. So from playing for Coach Pauly, he's one of my best friends, and he's one of the most colorful people I know. How do you guys? I mean, you must have stories that go for days, right? So can you share something with what it's like to play for the Buddha, but not really give away the farm?
He's definitely hard on us, but that all comes from a place of caring and wanting us to be the best we can. And sometimes I think people see that in a bad light, but I think it's all in the best way possible. He really wants us to succeed, and he knows all of our dreams and goals, and he's doing that in the best. He's trying to get the best out of us, and I think for a lot of us, the way that he speaks to us really helps us get the best out of ourselves and as the whole team.
Blake, you're pretty well traveled. You've seen a lot of coaches in your life. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah,
get it up there. Get in there. Yeah.
I would say that Paulie's very one-on-one with his players, and he likes to get close with the guys on his team, and I think that helps with our overall team and the way we'll play during the season. And I think as the season goes on, especially last year, I got to know him a lot more coming in new at Benilde, and I think I kind of noticed that he can be quiet and chill, and he can also get mad and understand. You can tell definitely when he's mad and when he's in a bad mood or something. It's not just because he wants to be, it's because he knows we have more potential and that we can do better.
Here's a goaltender, Carson, and I know he kind of lays off you guys, but what's he like with you? Does he just stay away from you?
No, he pushes me a lot.
Get it up there.
He's pushing me. He always wants me to do better, and if I have a bad game, he'll let me know it. He'll tell me if I have a good game, he'll tell me. And he always just wants me to do my best so I can keep everybody in these games.
You've got a lot of attention as a goaltender. You just do. Everybody talks about you since you're in 9th grade. I loved your game in 9th grade because when freshmen come in, guys, I usually look at it and say, you're freshmen. You're about 10 pounds. It's just whatever. But you played like a junior then. And everybody expects you to do things, and when there's expectations and you get to become a goaltender, you start thinking too much. How do you just keep it within the moment, saying I am a junior goalie with the Benilde-St. Margaret's Red Knights, and we gotta face off to my right, and I gotta make a save. How do you keep it within the moment?
To be honest, it's all the coaches I've had in the past. They've always just helped me stay focused and know that I have to worry about the next shot. Never worry about what's happened in the future, what happens in the past. I always have to keep my moment on where the puck is and what I have to do next.
This is great. Eddie Balfour says it's always 0-0. Doesn't matter if it's 5-0 you or them. It's always 0-0. You never change. So, James, goals for you guys this year. Obviously, you're thinking state tournament and those types of things. But as a group, how are you working toward those goals, and what are they?
Well, I think our goals are first winning our conference, and then section, and then we'll obviously go to state.
Is he good? Okay, we're down to 1.
Okay, I was saying that our goals are like conference, and then winning our section would be a great time to go to state, but also like building relationships in our team is a goal of ours, that we're a family, and eventually creating lifelong relationship and friends throughout the whole high school.
Blake, how about you on that one?
Yeah, I got to agree with that, and obviously Paulie is always in wanting to win a state tournament, and I think that's his goal every year, and he knows that this team is special and that I think we have an opportunity to do that. And that's why I think he doesn't want to rest any day, and he always wants us to work hard to get that goal.
Seamus, how about you?
I think definitely like the on-ice goals are really big for us. Section championship, conference championship, and then like hopefully a state tournament as well. But I think like the big thing for like a lot of us is like creating those relationships that will last a lifetime, because we're spending every day with these guys from the beginning of school to the end of February, beginning of March.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, and like I think that's a great time to build relationships that will last forever.
There's been a common theme that we've talked about just about every team here is there's guys that play, the Middlestead brothers were here, and Casey keeps telling them, this moment, these guys, you'll never forget them. I haven't, I don't. They're almost more important to him than the Buffalo. Those relationships will be forever, and so will these, which is super cool. How about you on the goals and getting there?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to bank off what these guys said. It's all about the moments with your friends on and off the ice, but that also comes when how far you make it. I mean, getting to the state tournament would be a huge goal for us, and then also winning the state tournament is an even bigger goal.
Final question on the state tourney. I know we got to wrap it up here. We're getting the wrap-up sign. There is no all-tourney hair team if you make it. Are we okay with that? Okay, that he shut it down? Okay. I mean, yours is pretty solid right there. I mean, that's next level. Which one of you guys is the lacrosse guy? You are.
Yeah.
And where are you going?
Georgetown.
Ooh, that's big time. What do you know what you want to do? Your degree?
As of now, probably study business management. That's
Perfect.
my plan of now.
When you go to a place like that, you got to have a plan. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you don't waste that opportunity, right?
Don't plan to.
Coach Wagner continues coaching. Okay, so on that note, guys, great team. Love having all of you. Thanks for joining us here today, and this is all a great cause, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to the Red Knights. Coming up, it's the Hopkins Royals. We'll bring them in to close out the show. We'll take a quick time out when we come back with the Overtime Hockey Podcast from Joe Sensor's Kitchen and Bar in Bloomington, Minnesota.
Wishes and More send me to Disney World.
Hi, my name is Giovanni Lopez, and I was 17 years old when I got diagnosed with the stage 2 testicular cancer.
Hi, my name is Josh, and my wish was for a game room.
My friend got a wish from Wishes and More, and I think Wishes and More is really cool.
We wanted to make the time Emily had as full and as much of a celebration of her life as we could, and Wishes and More helped with that.
Wishes and More isn't a what, it's a who. We are comprised of volunteers and a small staff and supporters who care about the kids in our community and want to do something to make it very special for those kids or to support the families who lose their child. We actually have 3 programs.
Hi, I'm Christy, and my daughters were Abby, Rose, and Sarah Ann. We were introduced to Wishes and More when we were inpatient with Abby at University of Minnesota Children's Hospital. We made the change to have a play set installed in our backyard and have a special reclining swing for Abby that all of her medical equipment could be attached to. And within 10 days it was installed and we were playing on it in our backyard. We were able to use it every day for a full 11 days before Abby passed away.
Josh's wish still continues today because there are so many times where Josh just can't do what everyone else gets to do, and as normal as we try to make his life, it just isn't a normal life.
This has been like wild 2 hours. Really good.
It's been fun. It's been quick.
Yeah, I mean, we've brought in 5 hockey teams. Tom Reid, Jack Carlson was a trip.
Tom Reid?
Tom Reid was here. He was a
Kind of
trip.
a big deal.
Yeah, he was a big deal. He's something else. He said they could be a playoff team.
What?
Could be. Keyword could be.
We could be a playoff team.
We could be as the Hopkins Royals, of course.
Yeah.
And this is the Overtime Hockey Podcast, and we're here for Wishes and More. Joe Sensor's here. It's a foundation that's very important to he and Tom Reid that we spoke about. So wishesandmore.com. Stop on by. There's some great memorabilia here, and we appreciate you guys coming here. We've got this thing called the Original Six. You're part of it.
I'm part of it.
Because we've got the automated camera there now, and then we're going to start doing play-by-play.
Which is going to be spectacular, by the way.
Well, who knows?
I'm excited.
So we're going to bring you up from the booth.
As
Or
I'm
You're
coaching?
going to come up to. Can we put a headset on you?
That'd be
We've got
perfect.
cordless.
You don't want to hear what I say to these guys.
I
on the
do.
bench.
I do actually. Gino Parrish. I got to tell you, one of my favorite things ever with you is when we were doing one of those this week in high school.
Yeah.
Whatever high school.
Oh, boy.
When you put those skates on at the Rice Park thing.
Oh my goodness,
And
those
so,
skates.
Yeah,
like
you couldn't stand
from
on
the
them.
1920s.
And they went straight down the
Straight
bottom of your
ankle
feet.
benders.
It was
Like
unbelievable.
old school, I mean, you guys remember like the old school skates, like the steel bottoms?
And they
steel
have
tubes?
leather on them.
Leather, yeah. They were basically made of cardboard. And yeah, that was a good moment.
It was incredible. Let's introduce the guys. We got Dominic Valentini on the right. Hello, Dominic. We've got Matt Stussy in the middle and Jacob Renier right here. A couple of 3 leaders for your team, and I'm very excited to talk to these guys. I've watched them since they were this tall, and here they are now, and playing high school hockey for you. So let's start you, Gino. Second year with this group. You guys have really, I think, infused your idea of culture and you know, the words from you, and everybody says you're just, you know, with your, is it 4-star?
It's 4. It was supposed to be a Hopkins hat. I apologize.
With your 4-star hockey, but
Yeah,
you're really
yeah.
helping them with the skills and all the things. Can you talk about this group, what they are?
Absolutely. You know, and I know Corey Peterson was a good friend of mine, the coach
Great guy.
right before us, a good friend of mine. Dave Bakken reached out to me, a terrific coach, terrific human being. He said, hey, I'm going to really need a lot of help with these kids not because of who you were, kids, but I'm going to need a lot of help because I do one thing or the other. I do forwards or I do D. I can't do both of them. Which one do you want? I'm like, well, give me D, naturally. And him and I, you know, not necessarily, we don't see eye to eye, which helps us quite a bit. However, David really wanted to change the culture of Hopkins hockey. He had just heard so many things about sort of a downward slide, and stop me if I'm wrong here, guys, but don't hurt me if I'm wrong here. But there had just been sort of this a lull in the program, a lull in the association that needed to be infused, and he wanted to reach out to people that were knowledgeable. Yes, I'm kind of tipping my own cap here, but he reached out to Danny Tompkins and to Jack Hillen and Jesse Bull and these people that had gone through Hopkins and said, you know, how do we revitalize this association? And I was lucky enough to be chosen as one of those key components.
And you're doing a great job. So
Thank you.
let's start with Dominic right here. Can you talk about your team right now, what you feel about them? You had a nice game against Roseville, and you know, you've got to be in a position where you're looking forward to your next game.
Yeah, I feel
our team is like, it's a lot different from the beginning of last year. Like this year, I feel like we're all ready to play. We're ready to win. Like, and it's part of our, like, thanks to the way like our program has been shaped these last 2 years. Like, we want to play together. We want to be good. Like, there's this attitude where we want to get better, like no matter what.
Matt, how about you picking up on that as far as your feeling about where this group is at, putting things together?
Well, I just think for, like, as a group of guys, it's nice to have a goalie we can rely on in Zach. And I just think that, like, if we can have faith in him, I guess, then we know that we can go do our jobs and just do it right.
Jacob?
This team is very different than it was at the start of last year. We've lost 17 seniors. We have a lot of new kids.
Is that true?
14 to
wow.
17,
New
something
faces.
like that. So we have a lot of young kids on the team, and everyone's working really hard, and everyone's in it to win. So,
well, let's go there for a second. You know, you've got freshmen up to seniors.
Yeah.
How do you blend that with these guys, with all of those different ages?
You know, they all sort of touched on it in different manners, but we have a different atmosphere, not just from a coaching aspect, but just from a chemistry aspect. Last year when we came in, we had two guys. We had a lot of skilled guys, but we had two players that were exceptionally talented players. And unfortunately, when you get into an environment where you have, you know, two Johnny rock stars, the vast majority of the other players just want to, okay, you get the puck, you get the puck, you get the puck. I don't want to upset that person because he's really good, so I got to get him the puck. This year, we have a stronger group as far as our base is concerned. We have more depth, and we have substantially more chemistry than we had last year. So I think that that's helped these guys be more excited about working together, which has helped us out immensely these first couple weeks.
Bart, you got one?
I need a microphone if I don't mind. Say, Gino, you're relatively new to the system. Obviously, with your resume, you know the game quite well. It seems to me like they brought you in not only for your experience, but your love for the game and how you can communicate with the players. What skills do you think you bring to this Hopkins team?
Yeah, you nailed it. Like, I'm just the hype guy.
No, you're not. I qualified that, Gino, because obviously you know the game very, very well. And you also do color commentary, and you do a fabulous job on that. But obviously you know the game quite well. You've shown that, your resume, but you also kind of can infuse the love of the game a little bit or enhance that part of it to make everybody get along. Am I correct in that statement?
Yes, I wish I could say it better myself, but you really crushed that. I mean, that
doesn't happen often, so let's relish this moment, okay?
You mark it on your calendar.
Indeed, it's
nailed that one, Bart. Yeah, the passion that is exuded through the game. I mean, this is all I've ever wanted to do since I was a kid. And I think that these guys pick up on the fact that this is not just an X's and O's game. You know, hockey is about life. Hockey is about teaching life lessons. Do we want to win? Absolutely we want to win. Do we want to make it to regionals? Yeah. Do we want to be at the state? Absolutely. But at the same time, you've got to enjoy the ride. You know, the journey is the destination, is the old cliche, but it fits.
And if you enjoy the ride, chances are good you're going to have more success down the way, is what my thought is.
Regardless, no matter what you're doing.
Something to take away.
Jacob, can you talk about the ride so far, your high school hockey ride, and what that's been like?
It's been great. The change in my first year, it wasn't like a winning culture at Hopkins. People kind of were like just messing around. And people
little beaten down.
Yeah. But as soon as Bakken and Gino came in, it kind of flipped over, and everyone was in it. And
he's on the power play as of now.
Well, yeah. Wow, look at that. That's all it takes. How about you, Matt? As far as the locker room and the guys, you know, from your perspective, what do you contribute? What do you see?
Yeah, well, I think just in the locker room, like, I think we're just all just a group of friends, and, like, we're just trying to have fun and just play the game that we love. I think also, like, relating back to my sophomore year, well, my first year was with Bakken's also first year, and I think just for me, viewing as on the JV team, we kind of just started out knowing that we won 2 games the year before and to going around and having a winning record. So I think that was really good. It really, I mean, hyped up our spirits, and I think we can turn that around and just, I guess, just, I don't really know.
He's also on the power play.
Yeah. Okay, here's another power play opportunity. You know, for you, you're probably on it, right? Is he on it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've always been a point producer as a kid all the way up, and you know things are expected from you. How do you lead and try to make other guys better around you in the room?
Well, Well, I just try to make sure that people know that, like, I don't want to be the only one who's producing. Like, I want to make sure that everyone has a role and that everyone is doing their job. Like, whether that be a D-man who is just, like, solid defenseman or whether that be, like, another kid on my line who's going to be scoring goals. Like, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that they have a part in this team. Like, it's not just one person, kind of like it was last year.
So the coolest part about coaching...
He's a smart kid, too.
I can tell. Coolest part about coaching these guys is they probably will give you more than they give you. When it's over, it's like, man, those guys were great. You know, when you walk away, how do you not come back and just keep doing it?
End of the year is spectacular. You know, a true story. I'll make this as brief as possible because you know how long-winded I can get. When Dave Bakken first asked me to do this, I wanted to be the cool weekend dad. Like, I wanted to just come in and skate once or twice a week and be like, you know what, I'll make a game a week. I'll make 2 or 3 practices and that's it. And then it was just day one. Day one, I was on the ice with them, and I just saw the energy that these guys had. I saw the potential that this next group had. And it was at the end of that practice, I walked into the office, and I was like, that's it. I'm signed, sealed, delivered. I'm here every day. I want to do this full time. And he was like, he couldn't have been happier.
They sucked you right in.
They pulled me back in.
That's great, though. I mean, but the game needs people like you. And I'll give you guys one final thing to say here before we wrap this up. What would you say about your coaches and coach?
Be careful.
Let's see if you lose that power play slot now. Let's see what you got.
Well, I just think that the coaches have done, like, an absolutely amazing job of just bringing our program together. And, like, I've noticed it in, like, the youth, too. Like, just the way, like, especially the Bantams, like, how they've, like, I don't know. When I was in Bantams, it kind of was just, like, half the people cared, half the people didn't care. Like, it was just, like, hockey just for fun. But I feel like now, like, they're in Bantams and they're getting ready for high school hockey. Like, they want to play. And I don't know, I think it's partially mostly due to the coaches at the high school level who've just been involved in the youth and everything, and it's just totally revitalized our program.
Culture to the youth. How about you, Matt?
Well, I just think regarding coaches, I mean, I think everyone on the team can agree that we just love Gino's first intermission speeches. I mean, I know that he only gives about 1 a game, but we cherish that a lot, and we love Gino.
Does he ride the bus?
No.
You get Dave.
I wish he does, but
They'll get sick of me if I ride the bus.
That'd be beautiful. Jacob, how about you?
The coaching staff has done an amazing job of getting everyone to buy in. Everyone has like 100% trust in what they're saying, and I feel like that has I feel like I'm repeating myself, but brought a winning culture to Hopkins here. So
it's awesome.
Off camera, we're going to group hug. Not now, but off camera.
Why not now?
Off camera.
You'd be the only ones that did it out of the 5. So we're by the way, we're going to wrap it up here. Vikes game starting here in a matter of minutes. People can come in and bid on all the memorabilia. 4 Wishes and More at wishesandmore.com. Yeah, right there. And if you do bid, you're going to be putting a hat for that Suter jersey. Get that? No problem. I'm sure you could just ask him for one, right? Maybe. Because you're sourced. Okay, I know you are. So Bart, great show. We throw that down to Bart Archer real quick. We just thought we'd try this and see what would happen, and we appreciate all you guys coming out and all the teams. And high school hockey, as we know, is special, and it's something that 94% of them don't play beyond that. Yeah. And for those guys, this is a great time, and for the 6% that do, awesome. But I think it's all about the environment and making it right, and that's what this is all about. So thank you for everything you do and making these guys' worlds a little bit better, buddy.
Beautiful. Thanks for having us.
You bet.
Keep up the good work, guys.
Don't forget about our Original 6 T-shirts. They're going to be available at the Edina Holiday Classic. They're pretty sweet. I'm going to show you a little mock-up. You're going to love it. And those will be available at a table up front, and we'll also have them available at line at the Tradition of the Park Holiday Classic and at an arena near you. The proceeds from those T-shirts are going to Wishes and More. You can check them out at wishesandmore.com. Bart, great job today. It's just like riding the bike from 1991, man. It is a little bit.
Old scabs, Pete, but happy to be here.
I was there with you. We're going to call it a wrap here. So long, everybody.
Wishes and More send me to Disney World.
Hi, my name is Giovanni Lopez, and I was 17 years old when I got diagnosed with the stage 2 testicular cancer.
Hi, my name is Josh, and my wish was for a game room.
My friend got a wish from Wishes and More, and I think Wishes and More is really cool.
We wanted to make the time Emily had as full and as much of a celebration of her life as we could, and Wishes and More helped with that.
Wishes and More isn't a what, it's a who. We are comprised of volunteers and a small staff and supporters who care about the kids in our community and want to do something to make it very special for those kids or to support the families who lose their child. We actually have 3 programs.
Hi, I'm Christy, and my daughters were Abby, Rose, and Sarah Ann. We were introduced to Wishes and More when we were inpatient with Abby at University of Minnesota Children's Hospital. We made the change to have a play set installed in our backyard and have a special reclining swing for Abby that all of her medical equipment could be attached to. And within 10 days it was installed and we were playing on it in our backyard. We were able to use it every day for a full 11 days before Abby passed away.
Josh's wish still continues today because there are so many times where Josh just can't do what everyone else gets to do, and as normal as we try to make his life, it just isn't a normal life. And so when there's birthday parties he can't go to, or when there's been treatment days and he has to miss out on hockey or hockey practice, he goes down into his game room and he turns on that bubble hockey machine and it plays the Star Spangled Banner, and I know that he's in his good place and he's happy down there.
Our memorial program was developed for those very, very sad situations when a child did not survive to experience their wish. We didn't want to just say goodbye. We wanted to show them that we did care. There's no other organization that does that for any families in Minnesota, but we do.
In the fall after Abby had passed away, Sarah started showing some of the same signs that Abby had, and it was very scary. We weren't sure what was going on, and we called our doctors and they examined her right away. They were able to confirm it was the same thing happening to Sarah. We had kind of forgot about our wish application. Things went downhill very quickly. Sarah had passed away, and it was a couple days later and got a call, and Wishes and More was calling to tell us that they were at a memorial for us. Sarah was our little butterfly. She bounced around and never sat still and was always in motion. So Sarah was our little butterfly, and we wanted to build that garden in her memory. Our bench says, "Those we have held in our arms for a little while, we hold in our hearts forever."
You know, that saying almost can be our saying for Wishes and More, because it's the same thing. When we hold these families in our arms for a little while, we actually do hold them forever, Christy. I mean, you know that. We do. Mm-hmm. We hold them forever and hope that they feel that. And we're so grateful for what you've done in talking about Wishes and More and how brave you are to talk about your girls. Our Scholarship of Hope program was created in order to make sure that every child and every family that came to us knew that we were hopeful and we were looking to their future.
Wishes and More is giving a scholarship of hope to Josh, so the wish continues to keep on giving. And not only for Josh, but for us as parents who have been through a lot financially with the medical trauma that we've been through with him. It's really nice to know that Wishes and More will still be with us as his future continues.
My wish for Wishes and More was a shopping spree. I really wanted a MacBook. I knew I was heading off to college. I knew I needed a good computer to work. I got my little sister a dress because her 3rd birthday was coming up, so helped my parents out with that and got her a little dress. And I bought my little brother some shoes that they really wanted. And not only did Wishes and More grant me a wish, but they also gave me a scholarship of hope, which was $1,000 towards any college of my choosing. I come from a low-income family, so I knew that I either had to keep working to go to school or find some way to pay for college, and that scholarship of hope really helped me out and my family.
You asked who Wishes and More is? Wishes and More is you. It's simply people who care about kids, care about families who are going through some really tough times, and it's our way of wrapping our arms around them and telling them your community cares. We care about what you're going through, and we'll move mountains to do whatever we can for you. That's who Wishes and More is.